Is it a great day to be a Nebraska fan or what? This was a coach who came in right after a big win, right after a rough moment with Mickey Joseph and his situation, and still managed to retain a bunch of the best guys in the state and lock in some new names who none of us had even thought about. I'm going to say this. I am thoroughly impressed with what we've seen so far. I don't want to say I'm shocked because we've seen building up to today that there was a lot going into what was going to transpire today. We knew that they were going after some big names, and I had a gut feeling, and I mean there were reports that Nebraska was probably going to have a big signing day. They did. I thought when Matt Rhule first got hired, my prediction was, I don't know if I said this anywhere or if this was just something on the inside, I will say it was pessimistic. I thought Nebraska was in for a 45 to 50 final ranking in their class rankings for this 2023 year. I was pleasantly surprised, and I hope you were too. Before we start it, I just want to listen to this little hype video that Nebraska's media team put out this morning on Instagram. So we're going to listen to this really quick just because it's a vibe, and then I'll get to the chat.
One of the proudest and most iconic programs, a program this state revolves around.
I mean, is this not freaking lit? Does this not get you excited for next year already? And the music, the choice. Is that Corn Craze intro music? I mean, I may or may not know the person who made this video. But let's freaking go! This is a legit class. This is a class who he can build with. I need to chill for a second because I spent all day reading. I spent all day watching highlights. Screw it. We're going to pull up another highlight because there's a new name on the table who none of us were even talking about going into today. This is a former Matt Rhule player, Josh Fleeks, played running back, played receiver at Baylor. I don't want to call him Trey Palmer fast, but this is a real receiver who can come in and play right away. Something happened with his production. He fell off right after Matt Rhule left. But look, he gets open. He's a real guy. He's ready to play right away, and he's a shocker because none of us knew he was coming. Here's another one. It's a nice kick return. It didn't go to the house, not a touchdown, but it's nice. What a action. We got some real ballers in this class, guys who they can build with. This wasn't a fluff class. There were so many comments, so many people telling me this was going to be a fluff filler class, a class that wasn't going to have the big playmakers. They need to wait one more year to get some real guys. Does that look like a guy who's not ready to go? When we go through this list, I got more highlights we're going to pull up. The number 5 class in the Big Ten. What? The number 31 class nationally. What? Okay. I don't want to oversell it. It's not the best class Nebraska's ever had. But this is the best class that we could ask for given the circumstances. This is the best that we could have hoped for. And if you aren't freaking excited after the day, then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you aren't doing enough research. Maybe you aren't looking at the facts and what's actually going on over there in Lincoln. They are building something special. I had my doubts, and so did a lot of other people, and today I feel like it was cleared up. His issue was in recruiting. When I first made the video, I said, he was at Temple, didn't really have to recruit. He was at Baylor. You didn't see many big-time guys come through Baylor. What was he going to do at Nebraska? Was he going to bring in Temple and Baylor caliber guys who were just developmental projects? Guys that we were like, we've seen better talent come through here, like the Maurice Washingtons, like the Adrian Martinez, highly rated 4-star players? Were we going to see less of those and then just see some, No. They went out and got real names. They secured Princewell, They secured Malachi, Riley Van Poppel, guys who weren't even, they weren't realistic options in my head 2 weeks ago. I thought Malachi was a realistic option for Colorado or Michigan after he decommitted. I thought I didn't even know who Princewell was at that point. And I thought Riley hadn't even been hit up since he was a part of the last staff's class. So getting three 4-stars today, there was a 4th 4-star that Nebraska accidentally leaked, Cameron Lenhart. That one's going to commit as well. He already signed, it looks like, but he's going to end up coming to Nebraska. So they got 4 4-stars. It's a good class. It's a good day to be a Nebraska fan. I'm going to get to chat because I want to talk to you guys and get your thoughts. Someone left a comment somewhere telling me that I am not the pulse of Nebraska football. I don't have my hand on the, or my foot on the pulse in Nebraska football. Some weird comment. They said basically that I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what the fans actually think. I just say what I think. I'm a millennial, and I talk about it from a young person's perspective. But I don't know, man. I think we're all kind of on the same page. I think we all want the same things. We all want to win. We all want to see some entertaining stuff on social media. We want to see Matt Rhule out there and active. I mean, do you not? Do you not love what he's doing on Twitter? Because I personally do. You want to see a mix of what he said today, the old school tradition with the modernization, the new school twist. Am I wrong in saying that? Because I feel like everything I want is what you guys want too. I'm not speaking for you and saying anything that isn't desired at Nebraska. Anyway, let's get to chat. Daniel says, we all know Dion went after Malachi Coleman hard. Let's start with Malachi Coleman. Were any of you surprised by Malachi committing? I wasn't surprised today because I don't know. I felt like there was something in my head telling me that Malachi wasn't the right fit for Colorado. Colorado is this flashy, we're getting money, we're going to the NFL. There's no tie to the program. It's less about the academics. I don't know. And keep in mind, I don't know Dion. I'm a big fan of Dion and everything they've got going on. But it just felt like that didn't align with the Coleman family and everything we've seen from his parents and how they talk and how Malachi speaks. It just seems like Nebraska, and more specifically Matt Rhule, is a fit for what they're looking for. So I wasn't surprised once this happened today, but I was extremely excited. I was pumped up. One thing about this graphic specifically, it comes from Hayes Fawcett. Whenever Hayes Fawcett releases a graphic, it's for a star player. He only does like 4- and 5-star guys, like the top 100 players, because he's kind of a big deal editor. So whenever you see one of these fire graphics pop up like Malachi has right here, it's time to get excited. And today, it was time. Chat, I'm coming back. I'm just excited, man. Daniel says, you can tell he was the son of a preacher. The presser was great today. I'm going to talk about the presser today, but I'm going to talk more about the presser in a video. I'm going to do like the 5 takeaways from the presser, go into detail. I haven't gotten to do a video, like a deep dive video in a week because I was in Oklahoma. But now that I'm back, I'm going to get to work on that tonight, and I'm going to have that up late tonight or tomorrow. So we will have more video content coming because I've taken a couple days off. Let's go, Nesnaj. Let's go. Brandon, I'm glad to see you're here. I saw you on that presser live stream earlier on. That was a good one to watch. Daniel says number 5 in the Big Ten. Alan says he's watching this, then he's got to get ready for work. Hey, Alan, I got to get ready for work too. I got to work on a video all night, so I feel you. Husker fan says Ajani's commitment to Oregon stung. Yeah, that was a little bit painful. Ajani, were you expecting to get him? Was anybody expecting to get him? It felt like after he took that visit to Nebraska, he went straight to Oregon, and then he followed it up with Tennessee and Ohio State. And I don't know, I just felt like Ohio State was the team to beat at that point. Today, it felt like Oregon was, because if you guys have been watching the national landscape with recruiting, Oregon has been on freaking fire. So I knew they either threw some money at him or they sold him the vision. Part of it for him, he gets to come play in an Oregon offense that was really strong last season, even though they lost their offensive coordinator. He's the new head coach at Arizona State. But they've got a really strong D coming back, and they've got a lot of guys who are committed to this class. That's a team who's going to make a serious run in the Pac-12 next year and probably in the national picture too. So it makes sense, and they've put more offensive linemen and defensive linemen into the pros as of recent than Nebraska has. So yeah, I wasn't too surprised. It was what it was. Sewer pump after the day. Michelle, I'm happy to see you here. I'm pumped too. And the Rhode Island guy was a Johnny Cornelius, just for all those who were asking who that was. EK says, I'm surprised there hasn't been a 40-minute YouTube video essay called The Rise and Fall of Mickey Joseph yet. It will happen. It will happen soon. Guys, I want to know where you're watching from really quick. I want to know, because I've been talking to some people. They've been asking me where my subscribers are from. Are they all from Nebraska? Are they from around the country? I know a few people are from out of the country, but yeah, let me know in the chat city and state you're from or area you're from. Joel, thank you for being a member for 2 months. I thought you just became one, but I saw the red corn, so that's the 2-month update. I like that red. It looks pretty clean. You said, give me all the Kool-Aid. People are pumped right now. People on social media, for the most part, from what I've seen, they fully bought into this Rhule experiment. This experiment idea didn't last long. Now it's more of, we believe in this. And if he can win right out the gate, which there's something telling me that Matt Rhule, this staff, they have it in them, right? They've already won. They have proven players now. I mean, these guys are all, and I'm talking about on the roster currently. I'm not talking about all the new guys who came in, because a lot of the true freshmen won't even make an immediate impact. But if we talk about the guys currently, I think Nebraska's going to return 8 or 9 starters on defense. Then you add in a couple guys from the transfer portal, maybe one freshman. The defense could be looking a lot more improved. The offensive line, no question, is going to be improved, especially after what we heard today from Rhule. I think part of what their issues were last year and what his belief is that the offensive line was forced to adjust to what the offense did. And what Matt Rhule's going to do is he's going to make the offense work around the offensive line, which makes sense because the offensive line is a key component. The offensive line is how you can run the ball. The offensive line is going to be what ultimately prevents you from passing the ball, which is what we saw last year. So, yeah, I have a lot of faith that every level of the defense, every level of the offense will be improved. So I'm excited to see it, especially when you have guys coming back like A.J. Allen, Anthony Grant, 2 proven guys at running back. And then you get more guys in the mix at receiver. We're going to talk about all the receivers that committed today. There are a lot of people, a lot of players who can make an impact. And there are a lot of people on this staff who are going to know how to utilize them. There's a lot of speed. I'm excited. Just saying. Okay, getting back. Moral of the story says Eric Fields might be better than Hausman. All right. I was thinking about this today. There were a lot of comments about Eric Fields. There were a lot of comments about Ernest Hausman on Twitter, both. And people were comparing him. Let me see his highlight. All right. This is Eric Fields for those who haven't watched him yet. He's from Oklahoma. He's this one. Comes straight through. Fast. Oh, and he forces the strip sack. I mean, freak athlete, no question. Was a no-star, a 0-star recruit as of like 2 weeks ago. Okay, here he is off the edge. Crushes the quarterback. Do you miss Hausman still? Keep in mind, Hausman was the backup linebacker last year who, made a splash as a true freshman. Do you think this guy could play as a true freshman? I don't know how good his competition is in these videos, but here he comes again. Here he comes. Bam. This guy is fast. He's athletic. I guess he's built like an NFL guy. He's wide. I could watch these highlights all day. I'm not going to bore you with them. I'm just kidding. I know you guys all love this. Here he comes again. Right here. Bang. I haven't seen these highlights yet, guys. I have not. This is my first time watching, so it gets me a little bit juiced. Here he comes all the way from across the field. He's got corner speed. Jesus. Okay, getting back on track. Yeah, Eric Fields is impressive on film. Let me get to where he is now. So I think he was regraded to a 3-star by on 3. Am I wrong? Okay, he's a 3-star by on 3, 9th best player in the state, and 67th at his position nationally. So says something. 6'2", 200. 6'2", 200 by next year at least. Jess says, what a good job by the staff. Dion didn't fare very well. We're going to talk about Colorado's recruiting class. We'll get there. It wasn't the day that I think a lot of people were thinking it would be. A little bit underwhelming. And yeah, Eric Fields had 180 tackles in 10 games. That was 18 tackles a game. Freak athlete, has already proven it. I'm excited. Here we go. JJ is from Manila, Philippines. He was up until 3 a.m. watching coverage, and it's now 9:30 a.m. Had to watch the live stream reaction show. Well, thank you for being here, JJ. Crazy that you're that far away. Every time you say it, I'm like, what are you doing out there in Manila? Rhule did tell us to watch out for Fields. If you guys watched the presser, he said that one name that's going to stand out to all Nebraska fans and the people who were in the room he was talking to during the presser, the name that's going to stand out that we're all going to know is Eric Fields. I think that gets me really excited because there was a bit of a sting, like I said about the Hausman thing. It was a bit of a sting. And now that we know we got someone coming in who's a really strong athlete at that same position, it's like, wow, we just reloaded. In the exact place where we needed some help, we reloaded like that. And we didn't go out and find a 4-star, the top guy who was going to Bama. This staff, I think Evan Cooper specifically is who Rhule said, Evan Cooper went out and found a guy who is totally underrated, under the radar, and certainly looks the part. That's the best way to say it right now. I'm getting through chat. I'm trying to scroll because there's a lot that I'm behind on, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, we've got everyone's letting me know where they're calling or where they're watching from. Someone dropped a $10 super chat. I can't get to it now. I have too many chats. So whoever sent the $10 super chat, send me your message again so I can respond to you. But thank you for sending the 10. Daniel, thank you for the 2. He says he grew up in Nebraska and he's living in Tampa, Florida. I've never been to Tampa. I've been to Orlando. I've been to Jacksonville. I've been to Miami a bunch, but never Tampa. We've got San Antonio, Texas, Dallas, Harrington, Nebraska, Beatrice, Boise, but born and raised in Lincoln, Richlands, North Carolina, Roswell, New Mexico. Isn't that where the aliens are? Malvern, Pennsylvania, Rapid City. I've been there a bunch. Council Bluffs. Oh, Judy, you're from Council Bluffs? Daryl says he was born and raised in central Nebraska, but he's lived in Houston for 2 decades. Houston's cool. I've been there a bunch. We've got southern Oklahoma. An Illinois fan from Illinois. Welcome to Corn Crazed, Keith. Thank you for being here. Hastings, Columbus, Boston, Washington, Scribner, Nebraska, Seward. Wow, all right, guys. We've got people from everywhere. Colorado, Indiana, Virginia, New Mexico, Waverly, Sioux City. Man. Keystone, Colorado. Cozad, Bayard, Gretna, Orlando. Okay, we've got everybody here from around the entire country. And there's a lot more. I haven't even responded to all of them. That was just the few I could because I don't want to bore you guys. But damn. Here's a free promo for Pipeline Jerky because I've seen it pop up on Twitter a bunch. Buy Pipeline Jerky. Let's get some NIL money for O-line players. I don't know what the NIL deal is, but I do see people are selling jerky for $10 a bag. And I think that money goes to offensive line, NIL pool, or some pool or donation thing they've got set up. I don't know anything about it, but yeah, it looks legit. So who knows? Maybe something you should check out if you guys eat beef jerky. Okay. We got more super chats. Publix Eye Outdoors, thank you for the 5. So Connor, are you nervous about going after speed like Frost did, or are you excited about it? This is the thing. The difference between Matt Rhule going after speed and Scott Frost going after speed. Scott Frost went after speed, but he didn't go after the offensive line and defensive line. He went after the athletes across the board. He went after the best DBs. He went after the best receivers, the best running backs, the best quarterbacks, but he never... I don't want to say that because he went after Corcoran, he went after Prohaska, he went after Benhart, who were all highly rated offensive linemen. But for whatever reason, they weren't the right fit. They weren't very good. They were overrated or overranked. I don't know. It didn't seem like he had that issue with skill players, though. He had a better eye for skill players. So here's the thing. Scott Frost went after the better skill players because that's what he knew how to spot and find. He saw the talent and was able to identify it. Matt Rhule is going after pure speed and guys who look like they can be developed into NFL players, but he's not neglecting the offensive line and defensive line in that process. And he's not building a team to be hyper fast. He's not trying to run a quick hurry up offense like Scott Frost was. He's not implementing the Oregon offense. Matt Rhule is going to run a Big Ten offense. He just wants fast players in that offense. Does that make sense? I'm trying to think of the way to say it, but hopefully that makes the most. The way I did say it makes the most sense. Big Red Willie, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being a member. Rhule said today in his presser that he was on the phone with one of the top recruits in the country for 2024. The kid's from Texas. Wonder who that is. We're going to have a top 10 class next year. I will tell you this right now. Not even a bold prediction, just a flat out fair prediction. If Nebraska can land Dylan Raiola, strong if, I think there's only like a 30% chance if I had to guess right now. But if they do, Nebraska will have a top 10 class next year. I would agree with that. I think he would be able to bring in at least one highly rated 4 or 5-star receiver with him. I think that you'd attract better offensive linemen. I think you'd attract some guys on defense who know that Nebraska's trending in the right way. So, yep, I would have to agree with you on this one. Big Red Willie, I have to agree. LJ says, I know a kid who had an in-home visit shortly after rules announced, and this player couldn't speak any higher of someone if he tried. He also signed today, and you guys got a great young man. Well, that sounds awesome. I really hope that everything we hear about Rhule holds to be true, and that that all these players do enjoy playing for him, and that they, get a lot of value being at Nebraska. I know we had a lot of hope for this last coaching staff, so I don't want to speak on this one too early and guarantee anything because you never know, right? There's no guarantees, but you hope that what we've heard, what we've been sold, all pans out, and then all of these guys have a really bright future in front of them. And it seems it would go that way. We got more people telling me where they're from. We got Airmet from Long Beach, only about 30 minutes away from me. David in Jupiter. Gonzalez DeGoat in Alliance. I think Alliance is where my mom was born, or she at least grew up there. I've been to Alliance a bunch. Lloyd McChristmas. What do you think about retaining Rhule for the O-line? Do you think his nephew had anything to do with the hire? So I'm going to talk a little bit about this in my video today or tomorrow, whenever I release that. I'm going to go more in depth because I got to research a little bit, make sure I get the quotes and everything that was said in the press conference today tight. But yeah, my initial reaction right now is that I think the Rhule rehire has nothing to do with Dylan. I think that was strictly based on the connection that Matt Rhule had with him, and both of them coming from the same coaching tree. I think that's what it was. Or they at least said understood the same system. Because they understood the same system, Rhule was confident in bringing him in because he knows that his view and his vision for how they're going to build the offensive line lines up with his. So, yeah, I think it was less about the nephew. Almost, yeah, I don't really think it's about the nephew because you can't hire one coach and bank on him to bring in one big name player. That just doesn't make sense. Why sacrifice an offensive line for 2 years in hopes that they can bring in one quarterback? That's a little silly. So, yep, I'm going to say Rhule was retained because he's the right fit. Indianapolis, Indiana, Kearney, Nebraska, Battle Creek, Fate, Texas, McCook, Nebraska, and he says it's cold there. I saw someone, you know who sent it? Crypto Badgers out in South Dakota, just over the state line. Crypto Badger said it was negative 35 yesterday, and he sent me some pictures of snow, like 6 feet, 7 feet tall on his farm. Insane. I got no snow outside. Right now it's about 65 degrees and dark where I am. But I was in Oklahoma this last week, and I had to wear a sweatshirt and a jacket, a little 35-degree weather. John is in China. Alan is in Shadron. Alan, I'm trying to think. My grandparents grew up on North Mears. If you want to look up North Mears Street, or they didn't grow up there. That's where their house was. That's where I think my grandpa lived there when he was a kid, though, at some point. I can't remember the story. But anyway, my grandpa grew up in Shadron at some point during his life. He died in Shadron. I spent a lot of time there. Just type in the street North Mears. They lived on the corner right across the street from the park. And then there was an elementary school right up the street. I spent a good portion of my childhood there. I went to Shadron a lot, like a month every year for years. I know it very well. And I haven't been back in 12 years. Judy, thank you for your $2 super chat. You know I appreciate you and all the support you give me, all the comments you leave me. You're awesome. Nebraska Edits, thank you for the $5. If Dylan were to come to Nebraska, would he be a day one starter? No. I don't think so. I think it's really hard for guys to come in and start immediately day one. However, he has a crazy skill set. The guy looks like Patrick Mahomes, the way he moves around. And Dylan very well could be, a week 4, a week 5 starter. But here's the deal, man. We have barely even talked about him because I've been busy. I did a quick reaction to Jeff Sims. I have a lot of hope in Jeff Sims. And today I got even more. I got more clarity on how Matt Rhule views him. We'll talk about it again in this more detailed video when I can do more research. This is just off the dome. But my initial thoughts on Jeff Sims were that he has a cannon arm. He's a freakishly good athlete. He's built like a pro quarterback. I think he's 6'4", like 225. He looks like an RG3 or a Lamar Jackson. He's lanky like that, and he can run like both of them. So if Jeff Sims can be developed into a pro-style quarterback, there's no way Dylan would be a pro or would be a starter up against a guy who's already a pro quarterback and who's already had a year in the system. So, no, I don't think Dylan would be a year one starter at Nebraska, but I don't think he'd be a year one starter at most schools he went to because he's looking to go to the biggest and best places. And most of those places don't play a true freshman right away because they have a really good quarterback already there. So I think Nebraska's in really good hands. I think this Casey Thompson, Jeff Sims, I'm saving this comment for my video. I'm just going to save it for my video because I have a really good outline that I've written for my script, and it's funny. And yeah, we'll talk about it in the video. So just make sure you watch it, and we'll talk about Jeff Sims and Casey Thompson in that one. But I do have hope. I am excited. Brandon says, any word on if you may get to do a walkthrough on the new facility? Did you watch the videos on other facilities? I did watch the videos on other facilities. They looked great. And I have not pursued that conversation. I haven't talked to anyone at Nebraska about doing a walkthrough because, yeah, it's just not the right time. But when it gets closer, I will. I've already got my videographer on standby. He's ready to fly out to Nebraska with me. So as long as I can get clearance from Nebraska and I can get a tour guide to show me around the facility, then yes, I am going to do a facility walkthrough. We can say it's a most likely yes. That's probably going to happen. Especially if we hit 17,000 subscribers, then it's probably going to happen because we have the biggest fan channel there is for Nebraska fans, period. So yeah, I have a lot of hope on that one. I'm excited for it. Connor says, can you please do the GBR chant? It doesn't, if I do the GBR chant, nobody gets to hear the reaction. No one gets to hear the go big red afterwards. It doesn't make any sense. It's just me yelling go big red. But when you see me in person, we can do it together. I promise you. What do you think about retaining? Oh, I already did this one. Okay, Heroes of the Scape. Thank you for the $5. I think two huge additions were the high school coach out of Texas and Florida. They know the pulse and open the pipeline in those states. So I haven't done much research on either of those two guys. I think one's last name is Simpson and one's last name is, oh man, what's his last name? Wagers, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, both huge additions because they're going to help in recruiting a lot. And I'm sure they have a bunch of other skills that are going to come to light. So I haven't done my research on either of those. I've been out of town, like I said. But once I get into them, I will include them in a video and give you guys my thoughts. But yeah, Matt Rhule is hiring a really good staff. What's really cool is that he's going after young guys. He said it today. He likes going after young guys because he's the old guy. But no, realistically, when you go out and get young people, they're innovative and they're really hard workers. They're hustlers because they're trying to create. They're trying to, make their impact. When you go out and get a guy like Mark Whipple, it's like, oh, okay, this guy's already done everything. He's already peaked out. He's already been a head coach. He's just doing what he knows how to do. He's not as innovative. He's not as open to changing ideas or, creating new ones. So I think it's really cool that they're getting young guys and people who want to go out and find new ways to do things. And I think high school coaches are guys who would want to go out and find new ways to do things because they haven't coached in college yet, or at least they're not going to have held the position they're holding at Nebraska. So I think it's really interesting. Rhule just tweeted big news at 8 p.m. Central. Well, we'll be here in 8 minutes. We'll make sure we got Twitter loaded up. Really quick, guys. Today, our sponsor making the video free is BroThrow. And if you want to sign up for BroThrow, it's brothrow.com/GBR. This is the website where I make all my sports bets. Tonight, I had to tell you this now because the game's about to start. I am on South Alabama -4. The reason for this is, although Western Kentucky has a guy with a cannon arm at quarterback, an NFL-looking dude, Western Kentucky is missing their number 1 linebacker. They're missing their number 1 center, number 1 left tackle, their number 2 wide receiver, and their number 1 corner. I think 2 or 3 of those guys are NFL guys. So because they have 3 out of those 5 out, I am 2 or 3 units on South Alabama. So just letting you know that pick in case anyone didn't see me put it anywhere else. And then if you join BroThrow, it's free. Here's the free features. $150 daily limit on your bets. You don't have to make any deposit, which is fantastic. Other sports books you do, and this isn't a sports book, so that's the reason for it. If you do want to get a higher limit, and if you do want to get higher limits overall, where is it? It doesn't matter. If you want to get higher limits overall where you can bet more than $250 a day, you can sign up to be Pro Plus, but these are the features you get. You can go to your performance in the past. You can view every bet you made, every team, every person on the site you bet against, which is right here, your opponents, how much you won, how much you lost against them. And then what's really cool, final thing before we get back, when you make a bet on a game, as you've seen before, sometimes it gets lost because the line changes. Here, I can do bet sync because I'm a member of the site, and then once I enter my PIN, my bet will line up automatically with whatever the new line adjusts to. So I'll always get my bet picked up. Anyway, it's brothrow.com/GBR, and they're the reason the show is free and why I can do it so consistently. Okay, back to chat. Cade, thank you for the $5 chat. I love being off-season national champions, but I want it to be proven on Saturdays. Trying not to drink Kool-Aid today, but I definitely took sips. Here's the thing, man. I hear you, and I understand your position, because I've been there too, where I'm like, why am I getting so pumped up, and why am I getting so hyped up when we consistently only win 4 games, or whatever it is, 5 games? It's kind of a joke, right? But here's the situation we have. We only get 1 year. We only get, not 1 year. We only get one kind of gap of games in a year. So that's 4 months, I think it is, 3 months of action. And then the rest of it, we have to enjoy the time we have with this team because we only get 1 season with each team before they, go on to do their other things. Enjoy every bit of this because like Josh Pate says, I think it's Josh Pate who says it, there is no off season. This is a 1-year cycle of this team. So you have to enjoy this team while you have them. And although these aren't on the field wins, they're still wins in some way. There's still things that make you feel good about them. So I'm going to take some sips and I'm going to feel good and I'm going to enjoy what we've got right now because there's hope. As long as you have hope, here is the best way I can describe it. Imagine if the entire 2022 calendar, the 2022 calendar year, you didn't enjoy any of the offseason, which was the best part of the season for us. And then you get to September, October, November, December, and you watch the season unfold the way it did. And now you're checked out and bored. You didn't get to enjoy the entire thing because you only focused in on September, October, November, December, which was a total waste and nothing positive came from it. At least we got to enjoy being national champions in the offseason. Think of it that way. It's not wrong to enjoy an off-season national championship. I promise you. I'm going to pull up the Rhule Twitter just to make sure we don't miss it because everyone's saying 8 p.m. Matt Rhule is going to tweet something important. 5 minutes. What's he tweeting in 5 minutes? Here it is. This is the latest from Matt Rhule. 5 minutes from now. So I'll reload this and we'll all be here to see it together. I don't know what it is. Okay. Ben, thank you for the $2. Matt Rhule's persona over Dion Sanders' persona. To be honest, I have to agree with you. At first, I was really on board with the Dion train. I loved the way he was coming at social media. I loved all the videos he was putting out. And although I would appreciate more video content from Matt Rhule, Dion just feels a little bit, I don't know what the word is. I guess self-centered. Like you're not part of a team. It feels like you're not at Colorado, you're at Prime University. When you look at all the graphics that Colorado posted up for all their signing days, and not signing days, but their commitments or their offers, it was a big picture of Dion. I was like, okay, well, this feels a little weird because normally you'd see Colorado and see all the colors, but it was all focused on prime time. Come play for Coach Prime. We coming. It's like, okay, I get it. But yeah, I prefer Matt Rhule, 100%. Getting back through, because there are some super chats I'm missing. Steven says he wore his corn crazed sweatshirt to court today, and the case was dismissed. I'm happy to hear that. It just carries some good luck. David says he saw a corn crazed fan wearing a hoodie the other day in Jupiter, Florida. I love hearing that. I don't even know where Jupiter, Florida is. I've never been. Husker Nation. I think this is James. James, what's happening? Thank you for the $20 super chat. We had a decent recruiting class for the first couple years when Frost was here. That's true. You're not telling a lie. It comes down to player development. On those 3 and occasionally 4-star recruits, it comes down to player development on those 3 and occasionally 4-star recruits. Tomorrow in Omaha, it will be -6 and a low of -9. Jesus, I don't know if I could handle that. I would be in the house. It does come down to development, and I'm not sure if Matt Rhule's staff's just better at developing players, or if they seek out talent that can develop players, or no, if they seek out players that are more easily developable, right? Or more easily coachable. Maybe that's a word, because I don't want to use the wrong word and sound stupid over here, although I do all the time. But yeah, I agree with you, James. I'm hoping this staff can develop their players, because we haven't gotten to see really good development in a while. I'm going to take a pause really quick because we got 1 minute until the Matt Rhule tweet comes. So we're going to watch this together. Pausing on the chat. We're at 5:59. I'm waiting for it, Matt Rhule. What's he going to say? Chat, I can only refresh so many times. I don't want to miss it, though. I want to make sure we're the first ones to see it. I'm sitting here nervous. What if he just puts out a bunch of emojis? What if it's a bunch of emojis that don't make any sense, and then we're just sitting here like, what the hell was the point of this? Come on, Matt Rhule, it's 6. It's 6. The clock has hit. We're excited. We're waiting. I've been told by chat to pause everything and look at this. If it's a bunch of emojis that don't make any sense, I swear, we're going to have to decipher all of them. We're going to sit here as an investigative crew, all 909 of us who are watching this video right now. Does Matt Rhule not know there are 912 people in chat waiting for this tweet? Someone text him. Someone text Matt Rhule and tell him to post it real quick because we're waiting on him. Anyone have his number? This is ridiculous. My heart's racing faster and faster. If it's something that doesn't make sense or if it was a waste of our time, come on, Matt. You had such a good day. Don't spoil it with a bad tweet. You're not allowed to overhype things over here because Nebraska fans, and specifically myself, get all amped up and anxious. The heart starts racing, and I do this BS. I start refreshing Twitter every 4 seconds. Come on. I'm hyped. What? Where is it? There it is. Okay. Wait. I'm pausing it. I'm going to put the audio on. Okay. Here. What does this mean? 24 hours till what? Why are you saying in 10 minutes I'm tweeting out something that's going to tell you to wait 24 hours? Chat, does it feel like that was overhyped? Does it feel like it... Ugh, it doesn't make any sense. I don't want to wait 24 more hours. What's he going to release then? Is he releasing a documentary? What does it mean? I'm gonna quote tweet him really quick. Quote tweet. Chat and I just waited... No, I'm going to say 947 in chat. And we just waited 4 minutes to wait 24 hours. There we go. Okay, if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, make sure you follow me on Twitter. Because I just started tweeting, because everyone in chat has always requested that I tweet more. So I started to tweet and give you guys my thoughts on things. It is very cryptic. I'm going to reload Twitter one more time before I get back to chat. Just make sure there's nothing I'm missing. Yeah, still confused. Anyway, Adam says he just subscribed and he loves the content. Adam... The reason I make the content is because guys like you will subscribe and you love it. So thank you for being here and thank you for being a supporter of the show. I appreciate it a ton. Matthew says he's from Seattle. My sister lives in Seattle. I've gone there twice. She works at Amazon. And it's pretty cool over there. D Parks says he lives on Mears Street in Shadron. So D Parks, my grandparents lived at the corner across the street from the park, and then the street that goes up the hill is that corner towards the elementary school. So I don't know how to explain it. I haven't been there in 10 years, but that's where I spent a lot of my childhood. Okay, I got to get to the super chats, guys. I've missed some super chats. Daniel's been a member for 1 month. This Kool-Aid is sweet. He's sucking it down. Well, thank you for being a member. Thank you for sucking the Kool-Aid, because I am too. Chris, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $5. He says, thanks for the info. Go Big Red. He's from Manhattan, Kansas. I have never been, but I have been to Lawrence, and I really enjoy my time. Thank you for the 5. Steven says, let's effing go. Yep, I feel the same way. Thank you for the 5. Zach, thank you for the 5. Have you heard anything on IGC? Haven't seen anything about him finding a landing place yet. I have not heard anything. I'm really interested. I'm gonna hit him up, DM him tonight. I talked to him right when he entered the portal, and I was really hoping that he would come back, but now obviously the events have changed and he'll go somewhere else. But I'm a big fan of IGC, so I'll hit him up and see what he has to say. Public Side, thank you for the 2. Pipeline could be back with Nebraska kids. It's very true. We got, I think, four Nebraska offensive linemen or something like that. So we very well could see the pipeline build back because those guys all want to play for Nebraska and they all want to win. Jay, thank you for the $100 super chat. I know it took me a minute to get here, but there's just been a lot going on. It's a lot of people on tonight. I don't usually have 900 people on the live stream, but we're popping for some damn reason. It's because you guys. It's because you guys share the content. All right. Thank you for the 100. Super fired up today. Maybe, just maybe, things are looking up for the Big Red. Maybe. Love your videos. You deserve a hundy. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, brother. You think we're going to add some nasty, tough offensive line guys? Let's take a pause and let's check out some of the offensive line guys they added. Let's pause right here. Let's do sheer numbers. At the top. Okay. At the top, you got Gunnar Gatula. He's from Lincoln Southeast. He is 6'4", almost 6'5", 280 pounds. Sounds nasty to me. You went out and got Brock Knutson. Okay, Brock Knutson is like one of us. I'm sure. I don't know, actually. I don't know if Brock Knutson's ever watched Corn Craze, but I do know Brock is a diehard Nebraska fan because when Matt Rhule went to see him, or when he called him, he said, hey, I'm just checking in. He's like, Coach, I'm playing for whoever the coach at Nebraska is because I don't care about who the coach is. I care about being a Husker. So he's diehard like we are. None of us would ever not go and play for Nebraska, no matter what the situation is. Even if someone else offered us, $500,000 more, you better hold true and be loyal over that $500,000 because I don't care about it. We're building Nebraska back. Anyway, Brock stayed loyal. Nasty. We have Sam Sledge. Sam Sledge was on the all-name team today for the Big Ten. I saw there were like 7 players on the all-name team. I think the Big Ten Network put it out, and Sam Sledge was one of them. There were 4 Nebraska guys on the all-name team, which is pretty cool. But anyway, Sam Sledge just sounds like a guy who's ready to, I don't know, sledgehammer you? I don't know why, but that name just sounds intimidating. So that's our 3rd offensive lineman. Then you've got Mason Goldman, 6'5", 250. 3-star by every outlet. 11th best player in the state. Then you've got, okay, I can't remember. I promise you guys, no disrespect, Jason. I tried to get his name right. I watched a video like 3 times of someone saying it. So we're just going to say what it looks like. Jason Maychek. It's not how you say it, but it sounds similar to how you actually say it. So Jason Maychek was supposed to go to North Dakota, the green team that we played and beat in week 2, and that we handled because they're a FCS team. He was going to go to North Dakota, and then he ended up flipping his commitment to Nebraska because they saw something in him, and he's going to be one of the next big uglies up front. So yeah, we got some good offensive linemen. It looks like, it sounds like, and hopefully it holds true. So Jay, thank you for the 100 again. It goes a long way into supporting the channel. If you guys want to know where the 100 goes towards, I just built a freaking PC for $3,500 and to make sure that I could do this stream properly because my old PC You know, it was good, but it was better for making videos. When it came to live streaming, I'd have a lot of glitches and lags, and I would, you know, it just wasn't good. It was hard because when you got 930 people on a stream and you've got all these different screens pulled up, and I've got this Stream Deck thing, like I use this thing to flip between screens and do all, you know, all this tech stuff. You know, it gets expensive to make sure you have the right equipment. So anyway, thank you guys for helping out with that and for supporting the channel. Bart says he got his stickers earlier this week, and they're way cooler and better quality than I had imagined. Guys, the stickers are freaking fire. Another promo, because I just love the stickers. This is the corn sticker in the sticker pack. Just, it's heat. Anyway, I have sticker packs on the site. They're like $5, and you get 25% off if you use code GBR. It's just corncrazed.com. And then this is the sticker pack. You got the Corn Crazed OG logo. That's the corn. You've got the Social Club logo, and then with the helmet, and that's the same design as on the back of this hoodie. Then you've got the 402, and you've got the Lincoln Skyline with the Corn Craze. So anyway, stickers, free shipping, 25% off, code GBR. Stickers are like $5. So anyway, another way you can support the channel and make sure you've got corn swag all over all your stuff. Never mind me says we're all in the house. He's not leaving till Sunday. F this weather. I guess we can shout out Nebraska cold and Nebraska snow for having one of the biggest live streams we've had in the last month and a half. So thank you to the bad weather for keeping everybody in the house and forcing us all to be one big happy family and celebrate a positive recruiting Tuesday? A positive recruiting Wednesday. Big Red Willie back with another 10. Thank you for the chat, brother. What are your thoughts on Rhule saying just because he hired Tony White doesn't mean they're running the 3-3-5? Happy to know this staff is open to change their system. So I didn't hear exactly what he said there. I don't know where that was from, but what I did hear was that he had talked to some of the players or some of the recruits. And when he talked to them, he said that he wasn't limiting the defense to be just a 3-3-5. They were going to adjust it and have different fronts. So it's more of a multiple defense. They'll run some 4-3, some 3-4, some 3-3-5, probably some 4-2-5, and whatever works because they want to make sure that they are running a defense that fits the athletes and fits the team they have, right? I think the same goes for the offense. You have Marcus Satterfield who came over from South Carolina. And when he was at South Carolina, he had basically a pocket passing quarterback who could throw it all over the field. They had a really good tight end, a few receivers. And so what they do, they threw the ball. I think against Tennessee, they threw it for like 500 or 600 yards. Is Nebraska in for a 600-yard passing game? Probably not. Nebraska's in for a downhill run with elements of pass, with elements of QB rollout, with elements of RPO. But they're going to focus on winning in the Big Ten. Matt Rhule is going to adjust and make sure that their offense and defense fits. So another quote he said today, I think, don't quote me because it's not a quote, it's just another thing he said that came from his press conference. I can't say quote because then it's not a quote. But he said that they're going to try to adjust. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was and get the quotes close as possible. They're going to try to adjust to make sure that they can win in the Big Ten, and they're not going to run the exact same thing they ran at Temple. They're not going to run the exact same thing they ran at Baylor because they're not going to win the way they won at those two schools playing in this conference with these athletes. So basically he's saying we're going to make sure we do whatever it takes to win, and that means that we might have to run a new defense or a new offense that we're not entirely used to. I think that's the best way to put it. And once I do more research not more research, but once I get the exact quotes, I'll pop those up in a real video and I'll react to those quotes because I'll have done, more thorough research. Right now it's just off the top of my head and a lot's been going on these last couple of days. So I'm just trying to keep up. Yeah, I know you know how that is. Evan says, do we know yet what position coaches we're still waiting on? We're still waiting on the linebackers coach who is Voracek, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but he's the linebackers coach at the Carolina Panthers. We're still waiting on the receivers coach because apparently people thought it was going to be Joe Daly, but then it wasn't Joe Daly, it doesn't sound like. So could be an NFL guy, but no one knows who that's going to be. The last one we're waiting on is the tight ends coach. Originally, Satterfield was going to be tight ends coach, but I'm pretty sure that Satterfield got switched over to quarterbacks. So now we're going to have a tight ends coach come in. So those are the last three positions. So we'll see how that pans out. Let's see. I'm in chat just scrolling, guys. I'm so far behind. You guys have been leaving a lot of chats. Jesus. I'm just now getting to something we had talked about 10 minutes ago. Okay, I scrolled up top. We got more super chats. Jordan, thank you for the $2 super chat. You're coming in hot. You're coming in hot with that. I don't want to say anything disrespectful because I don't know the situation, but I guess I'll respond to it. So what he's saying, okay, it says opinions on the dirty recruit from Scotts Bluff. I think he's talking about Brock Knutson. Tell me if I'm wrong in chat, but I'm like 99% sure that's who this is. He like stepped on some guys' ankles when they were on the ground, and it went viral on Twitter. People were posting about it. But there's two sides to every story. So you don't know if the guy who he stepped on his ankle was being an asshole and cussing at him and pushing him around, and then he had, done it to get back at him. You just don't know. So when we talk about how dirty it was, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the situation. So I don't really like to speak on people's situations when I wasn't there. But yeah. It's confusing when you see the video at first. I agree. I'm not going to defend it because I don't know the situation, but I'm also not going to say the other guy was attacking him. I don't know. It's just, I'm going to leave it at that. Husker Nation, thank you for the 5. Maybe the 24 means we had 24 recruits sign or commit. No, James, I think the 24 hours means we're getting an announcement in 24 hours. I just don't know what announcement could come in 24 hours that would be bigger than what we've already heard. When you think about we're talking about this right now, guys. When you think about the 24-hour announcement, it's not going to be anything to do with Dylan Rhule because you wouldn't announce Dylan. Guys, I'm like, I have things going in my head right now that I don't want to think about or say out loud because they're so ridiculous. The only thing that could be tied to Dylan Rhule was if he reclassified for 2023 and then he announced that he was going to commit to this class and Nebraska signed Dylan Rhule in the 2023 class. That would be the only thing that could be tied to Dylan Rhule. I don't even like to talk about that because that just sounds so ridiculous. I'm not even going to explore it. I put it out there, but that's not going to happen. That's ridiculous. Come on. But anyway, 24 hours, we're going to hear some big announcement. What could that be, though? I don't even want to speculate. I just have no clue. It just doesn't make sense because I don't know what. I don't know what. Flezinator says there's some hidden message in the video. Slow it down to 0.25 and watch the numbers. Not sure what it means. Oh, yeah, the numbers glitch out. I'm going to have to make a phone call after this video. I'm going to have to make a phone call after this video. I need to do some research. There's some interesting things going on over here, and I want answers. If you're watching and you've got answers, you should text me and let me know. I won't say anything on stream, but just text me if you're watching and you've got answers, because I'm really interested right now in this whole 24 hours deal. Matt Rhule's not the only one who knows. There's somebody over there who knows. Just text me and let me know. I won't tell anybody, I promise. TriStar says, are people still saying that you can't recruit at Nebraska? Yeah, people were saying that. Are they still saying it right now? I don't know. But people were saying that. What the hell were they talking about? I told people, you can recruit to Nebraska. That's the one flaw in the job, right? Everyone says, oh, Nebraska's not a tier 1 job. Fantastic. It's not a tier 1 job, but it is a tier 2 job. It is a top 12 job. Why isn't it? Oh, well, they can't recruit. In 3 weeks, Matt Rhule put together a staff, salvaged what he had, and didn't lose a bunch of guys to the transfer portal, and then still landed a top 30 recruiting class. And I can tell you, I can confirm, I can't tell you who, but there is going to be at least one more guy in this class who's signing. In the 2023 class who's signing, who will boost up our rankings a little bit more. That doesn't include Cameron Lenhart. There's one more coming that I know about. So, yeah, he did a freaking good job. And this program obviously has some things that are attractive about it. So whoever says you can't recruit at Nebraska is out of their damn mind. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Michael says, what kind of GPU and CPU did I get? Man, I am not a computer guy. So I got a, what did I get? I got a 4080, I got an Asus 4080 graphics card, and I got a 7900X Ryzen processor. I think that's what it is, 7900X or 7900, something like that. I got a serious machine, and I don't game. People are like, when I posted it on Instagram, people are like, oh, hit me up so we can play COD or whatever video games. I don't play video games. I just have a crazy PC for this, for you guys. But yeah, I like to make sure it runs smooth. That's why I bought it. That's why I got it hooked up. Zach, thank you for the $2. The post doesn't say 24 hours. It says 24 hours. Oh, you're right. Interesting. What does that mean? It's so cryptic. I don't know, man. It's so cryptic. 24 hours. You're right. It's just cryptic. I don't know, man. Who knows? Don't get me started. Thanks for being back. I think there should be merch that quotes the legendary Crypto Badger. It's corn crazed, not corn level headed. That's a fact. I do need to put that on a sleeve, like right here or something. It's corn crazed, not corn level headed. Guys, I gotta take a picture of this so I don't forget it. That's pretty funny. Thank you for that comment. It's corn crazed, it's not corn level headed. Jesus. Dashcammer, thank you for the 50. Put that towards another computer monitor. I appreciate it. You're the man. You're always here. You're always supportive. And you're still a member after multiple months. It means a lot. To everybody who sends super chats, I know sometimes I miss them. There's a lot going on in chat. So if you ever sent it and I didn't say thank you, I want you to know I appreciate it like you wouldn't believe. The only reason I have a YouTube channel is because you guys watch it. I promise you, if you didn't watch the videos, I wouldn't make them because I literally wouldn't be able to afford to make them. Like you guys have seen, I have this sponsor Bro Throw. They've been fantastic. They've helped me to put out as much content as I can, and they've made it so I literally make this my full-time job from August to January. My full-time job. Like, I never would have thought I'd be able to say my full-time job is making video content around Nebraska football, but it's a dream. I mean, I love this so much. I'm so passionate about it that, yeah, it makes it, an easier job. It's a lot of work, but it's, something I enjoy. The other thing is, I've had a lot of people ask me questions about how I came up with Corn Crazed, how I'm a Nebraska fan. Like they ask all the time. So I think in the off season, like later in January, I'm gonna make a video. If you guys don't want it, let me know and I won't make it. But I'm gonna make a video where I talk about my past, like how I got to this point, how I came up with Corn Crazed, why I'm a Nebraska fan, my ties and connections to Nebraska, all of that. I'm gonna put it in one video and give you guys a really detailed, like 8 or 10 minute video who I am, because I know there's bits and pieces of information out there, but no one knows like the full story. It's not out there for one person to be able to click it and watch. So if you guys don't want it, let me know, but I think I'm going to make that. Anyway, thank you for the 50 Dashcammer. Paul, shout out from Southern California, GBR. Probably not very far away from me. And William says it's 14 below in Piedmont, South Dakota. Paul and I are living it up. Right now it's 60 degrees outside at 6:30 in the evening. And for you guys, it's 14 below. It is tough, let me tell you. Minnie says she'd like a sweatshirt with Rhule's emoji tweets. Could you imagine if Nebraska's store, like in the bookstore, they came out with just a Nebraska hoodie and then it had like whatever the favorite Rhule emojis were going down the sleeve? That would be freaking hard. I'm not going to lie. That one's a good idea. Someone needs to do that. 900 people and only 700 likes. Okay, if you haven't liked the video yet, go ahead and like the video. It really helps me out. It helps more people to find it, and it helps with engagement just overall. So, yeah, thank you guys for liking the video if you haven't already. Jason says he's watching from Taiwan, born and raised in Lincoln, UNL alum, lifelong Husker fan, still watches from abroad. Jason, what's crazy is when you get outside, and maybe it's different for you, when you get outside of the US, there's so much going on in the world. There's so much to learn about. There's so much to eat, so many people to meet. The cultures are so different. I applaud you for not letting all of that interfere with your love for Nebraska football, because I'll be honest, there have been times when I've been in Istanbul or Italy or wherever. I've been to a lot of places, Kenya, and I completely forget about American football, period, because there's so much to learn about, so much to see, so many people to talk to. American football just, doesn't float to the top when you're abroad like that. So the fact that you're still dialed in, the fact that you're still passionate about it, like I said, I applaud you. I think that's awesome. That shows you're a real Nebraska and a real college football fan. Let me tell you how hard it is to be out of the country and still be that locked in. Especially when the time change makes it so hard for you to watch the videos. Oof. Okay, we're back on chat. Dewey says he's super late. What have I missed? Dewey, you've missed a lot. You're going to have to go back and watch from the beginning, because I don't even know what all we've talked about. We've just been firing. Okay, Zach says, how many of these players, the new players, are day one starters? Let's talk about that real quick. Here's who I think can compete for a starting job right out the gate. Let me clear the chat. Let me pop up our list. Okay. Potential day one starters. Malachi Coleman could potentially get on the field. I don't know if he would be a starter, but he for sure could have a role. I think Prince Will's a little bit small. I don't know that he's going to start right away. Riley Van Poppel again, pretty small. I think Kai Wallen, he played JUCO. He's probably ready to go. He could be a day one. Ramir Stewart is a freak athlete, really talented safety. I haven't seen much film of him. I've only seen a few plays, but I've heard that he could be potentially a day one starter, or maybe a halfway through the season starter or rotator. Really good player. Who else? I don't think any of the linemen, just because size-wise, it makes it really hard to compete. But Dylan Rogers is a guy who could rotate. Dylan Rogers is a really good linebacker from Texas. Bryce Young could potentially be a situational receiver. We'll watch his play right here. Bryce Young is the track star from Texas who had only one offer to, I can't remember what school, Abilene Christian or some religious school in Texas. But he's freakishly fast. I mean, that wasn't a catch, but it still went in the highlight. Let's see. Comes across the middle. Oh, I thought it was going to be shallow, but he goes deep. So maybe Bryce Turner could end up playing a bit. Okay, who else fits the bill? Tristan Alvano could be a potential starter at kicker, because although Nebraska has a good kicker right now, what's the guy's name? Timmy Bleekrod. He's a good kicker. He doesn't have the leg for the distance. The 45 to 60-yard range isn't his specialty. So maybe Tristan Alvano comes in for the deep kicks. You could see that happen, and I think he might be the place kicker next year either way. Eric Fields could be like Dylan Rogers and play right away early on. They'll have packages where they put him in. But I still think the two starters at linebacker are going to be Henrich and Reimer. Who else? Elijah Judy should be able to come in and contribute right away. Not sure if he's going to be a starting defensive end, but he should compete with someone like a Jamari Butler or a Blaze Gunnerson. Jeff Sims, if I had to predict right now, you heard it here. Jeff Sims is Nebraska's starting quarterback next year. Josh Fleeks, I think, is going to come in and contribute right away. I think he's going to be in his last season. He already has a role in the Rhule offense. They know how they would use him. So Fleeks is a potential. And then Chief Borders. That's another one I think could potentially slide his way in there to be a rotator outside linebacker. Not sure if that's more of a defensive end, stand-ups, or 3-3 linebacker, but he should have a role. Okay. Let's see. Scrolling through chat. It's a lot going on. Just want to make sure I get to the right stuff that you guys want to hear about. Dewey says the number 3 guy in the portal commits in 24 hours. That's what he predicts Matt Rhule's cryptic tweet to be. I'm not sure. I don't think Nebraska's in on a top 3 portal guy. A lot of us are trying to decipher it. Steven says Nebraska is and always will be a tier 1 job. I think it's hard to say that Nebraska's still a tier 1 job when you have... One sec, guys. I'm live. I'll call you right after. It's hard to say Nebraska's a tier 1 job right now when they've had such a bad spell. They've had such a consistent streak losing. They haven't made a bowl game. It's just... I wouldn't call Nebraska a tier 1 job for that. I'm going to be honest. Like I'm going to look at this objectively as a college football fan. And as a college football fan who's grading every program, yeah, there are a lot of programs who have won consistently who have, you know, more attractive history recently than Nebraska does, and that just makes it a better job, unfortunately. So, it's not a big deal. Nebraska's a tier 2 job, but they can build back up to being a tier 1 pretty quickly. Everyone's in on this 24 hours video. Everyone's trying to decipher it. BC says 24 hours may mean we have 24 commits. Okay, well here, let's look really quick. How many do we have so far? Let's count them. 21. If we add Lenhart, we add one more that I know of. That gets us to 23. Then there would be one more. So it's very possible that's what it could be. Lenhart, 1, and then who would the last be? I don't know. And the linebacker from Oklahoma is already on this list, so he wouldn't be included because we're only at 21 of who we know so far. And no one else is going to announce today. I don't know, man. Okay, I just got back to the top of chat, guys. It's been a long journey. There's a lot going on tonight. Josh, thank you for the 5. Keep up with the great content. Would you consider ranking the recruits from the class? Okay, let's ask chat what they want. I'm going to do a video where I rank the recruits from the class, no question. Do you guys want me to rank every single recruit in the class? Or do you want me to do like top 10 most impactful players from the class? What are you thinking? I mean, chat's got to let me know what they want. Because I've done so many rankings videos, I don't want to not give you something that you like. I mean, it would be cool to do every guy in the class. It's just a lot. It'd be a really brief, right? It'd be a video where I go over each guy for less than a minute, because otherwise that video would take forever. Some people are saying top 10, most impactful, everyone, top to bottom, top 15. Maybe I'll do... Okay, everyone, and then go in depth on the top 10. I could do that. I'll do everyone, and then I'll go in depth on the top 10. Thank you guys for helping me, because you guys, you know how to make my videos better than I do, because you're the ones who watch them. I wish I could watch my videos for entertainment. It's weird to watch myself. Travis says, I got a sticker Yeti cooler. I got a Yeti cooler. I put stickers on. Now it has the Corn Craze stickers on it. Go Big Red. I love it. Send me a picture, Travis. I need to see it. Or maybe you have. Someone sent me their Yeti cooler. Steven says, time to bring in Buford again and talk about the feeling on the team about Rhule. Yeah, I want to bring in Buford and I want to bring in somebody on offense. I'll do that in January. It's hard to do content right now in December. There's a lot going on, Christmas, travel, I'm going to leave again the 29th to the 2nd. So I'm not going to make any content in that time unless some breaking news comes out and I got to pop up the laptop and do it again from my dad's office in Oklahoma. But yeah, I'm going to start doing more content in January and I'll try to do some interviews then. I really want to get Josh Pate. I really want to get Joel Klatt. I'm going to go to the national championship this year, guys. It's right down the street from my house. So I'm hoping I can get Josh Pate to link with me in that time, like go to lunch with him or something. It'd be freaking awesome to link with Josh Pate. I really like him. Dash Camera says, maybe you can get to 30K subs by the Minnesota game. So my goal is going to be 20K subs. If I can get to 20K subs, that would be freaking fantastic. It's hard to make a lot of content in the off season. You can only do like 3 videos a month realistically, or I can only do 3 videos a month because there's just not that much to talk about. But if I can make 3 videos a month, I think that can get me to 20K subs, potentially. I'd need a lot of help. I'd need a lot of shares, but it's possible. We'll see. Gregory coming back with the PC conversation I was having earlier. Hey Connor, what's your COD handle? Gregory, I don't have a freaking COD handle. I've never even played COD. That's not true. I played COD when I was like 17. But I've never played COD on my computer. Andrew says that he used to get up and watch the Huskers at midnight when he was living in Japan. Watch the Huskers play at the Tokyo Dome against Kansas State in Tommy Frazier's freshman year. That's an awesome story. I didn't even know that game happened until like 2 years ago. But that's pretty awesome you got to go. Bart says, what do you think of the legacy Boodle? I like that he's been so locked into Nebraska and so loyal to the program, because this wasn't about the coaching staff, right? He never decommitted. He never even flirted with it or thought about it. He's known for a long time he was going to stay. So I admire that loyalty. And his brother was a stud at Nebraska. So if he's anything close to what DiCaprio was, I think Legacy Boodle is going to be freaking awesome. I did reach out to him on Twitter. He got back to me, but he was on his visit, so we got to reconnect. Dwight will be an interview on this channel. I will get Dwight to come on this channel and do an interview, which will be a good one, because he's a big Nebraska fan like we are. He's been a Nebraska fan since what? Like 2015 when his brother committed. So since he was like 10, he's a diehard. Someone said check Twitter again. Oh yeah, now it says 24 hours. Jordan told me to check Twitter again, and Mike Wallace says 24 hours. What's happening? I don't know. But it does have a countdown clock. The countdown clock tells us something's going to be announced in 24 hours. It's so cryptic. I do appreciate the scavenger hunt cryptic vibes, though. Gives me something to look forward to, something to get excited about. Here we go. Galactus says, I ran all the glitches on the alarm clock through a hexadecimal converter. Looks like a red herring, nothing intangible. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. No Illuminati here. Damn. I was hoping the Illuminati had crept in. Dang. Andrew says that Corey Collier could start at DB. I don't know what the issue was for him at Florida, but typically when you see DBs not get any playing time who were highly rated, there's some disconnect, right? Something that didn't work out. I'm not saying that Corey Collier won't be successful at Nebraska, but I do think there was a disconnect. There was something that he has to work on and get better at. So yeah, we'll just have to see how that plays out. I don't know that he's a starter right away, though, because, yeah, there's always something. Tyreek Johnson is a perfect example. Tyreek was a 5-star at Ohio State, came to Nebraska. He played what, like 4 games? Yeah, I don't know. Daniel says, I honestly have to say, I think Sims will sit a year. Wow. I don't know what to say. I don't know. Fufu Lame says Sims second string at best. Simple Jack says he thinks Casey will get it, but maybe not with those wheels. And EK says calling Sims is a searing take. So if you guys are new to the stream, if you haven't been on here for the last however long we've been on, I said that I thought Sims is the favorite to win the starting quarterback job. I guess I got to go more in depth about that because people don't agree with me. Casey has confirmed he's there for depth. That's what I wanted to save for my next video. Casey can't confirm he's there for depth. Casey, because they didn't bring Sims in to be a backup. I can tell you that for a fact. Matt Rhule is going to give all of those players a chance to win the job. He didn't say, hey, Sims, Casey's already locked in. You're done. You're riding the bench. That's not how this works. Matt Rhule said, hey, I've got a quarterback who's a stud, and you're going to have to come in and compete with him. He threw for over 2,000 yards last year. He was by far the best quarterback at Nebraska. He did some good things at Texas. He has legs. He does have a shoulder injury that he's recovering from. But anybody's job to win, because I'm going with the guy who gives my team the best, or my offense the best chance to score. Do you want to come here? Jeff Sims didn't say, yeah, I want to come there and be the second string guy and wait for Casey to graduate. No! No! That's comedy! What? Casey has confirmed he's there for depth. EK, by the way, I love you. I'm not calling you out or anything. This is a Casey thing. Jeff Sims didn't come for depth. Someone call Jeff Sims. I need Jeff Sims' number. I need to call Jeff Sims right now and ask him if he came to Nebraska to be the backup quarterback. What the hell would he say to that? He would laugh. He'd say, what? He'd hang up on me. He'd say, get the hell out of here. What? Casey's confirmed he's there for depth. Jeff Sims will be Nebraska's starting quarterback because Jeff Sims is the most athletic quarterback on the team, and Matt Rhule has shown us one thing in this recruitment. Do you know what that one thing is? He wants a quarterback who can run. He wants a quarterback who's mobile. Hashtag Malik Hornsby. He wants a guy who can make plays and who can be a real RPO quarterback. Now, I am not saying that Casey can't be that guy. I am not even saying that Casey won't be that guy. I'm making a bold prediction by saying Jeff Sims will be the starter. But what I've seen from Casey versus what I've seen from Jeff Sims tells me that Jeff Sims is the prototype for what Matt Rhule's looking for. Casey Thompson, and someone did point this out, and I agree with this argument. Casey Thompson did what he was asked to do last year. Casey Thompson didn't run because Whipple wanted him to sit in the pocket and be a statue. Fair enough. Fair. There were times, though, when I saw Whipple, there was one specific time when he laid into Casey. I mean, just wrecked him on the sideline, yelled at him because he was standing in the pocket for too long. He was immobile. He showed that he was like a CJ Stroud. He was not willing to move when he needed to, not willing to leave the pocket and use his legs as necessary. Now, again, these are two fantastic quarterbacks. Casey, even if he's not built like an NFL quarterback, his mind works like an NFL quarterback. He will learn any offense, and he will be a fantastic competitor in this race to be the starter. But Jeff Sims will be too. Matt Rhule said it today. Jeff Sims looks like a pro quarterback. And everybody he knows, his NFL buddies called him and said, have you looked at Jeff Sims yet? Matt Rhule said his obvious answer was, yeah, I'm already in contact. That's my quarterback. Now, when a coach comes in, they typically want their own guy. It's just a fact. I don't think either of these coaches or these players have a leg up. I honestly think they're going into this saying, okay, blank slate, it's anybody's game, Harburg included, Logan Smothers included, Chubba Purdy included. Who can come out here and be the best quarterback? I think we'll learn quickly. It's between Jeff Sims and Casey Thompson. But neither of those quarterbacks is told, hey, you're second string. Hey, don't compete because you're on the bench. This isn't a Chubba and Casey situation last year. Jeff Sims is a starting quarterback who had some issues at Georgia Tech because of the offense he played in, just like Adrian Martinez did a year ago. I'm passionate about this. I'm sorry. I'm excited because we have a true quarterback competition on our hands. This might be the first quarterback competition. Just think about it. When's the last time there was a real one? Tristan Gebbia and Adrian Martinez, 2018. That's 4 years ago. Going to be 5 off seasons ago. That's the last QB competition. Before that, Tanner Lee didn't have any competition. He was a transfer in and a surefire guy. Last year, Chubba Purdy was the obvious backup because Casey was night and day better. I'm pumped. This is a real competition. Don't get in your head and tell yourself, oh no, Casey's going to win. If Casey does that and Casey gets too comfortable, he very well could lose. I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm passionate about this, guys. I really cannot wait to see what happens. This is a quarterback's job to lose. I'm including that in my next video. Or sorry, it's a quarterback's job to win. Sorry, not a quarterback's job to lose. And really quick, for those who are saying there's one more recruit committing or whatever, the recruit I know is committing won't commit until January. So whatever he's saying about 24 hours, I mean, I guess they can say there's one more coming in January. I don't know. Who knows? Matt says, would you ever think about covering the whole of college football? I love your takes and want to hear about what you think about all of college football. I would consider it. I would probably have to do it on another channel because it would screw up the algorithm for Nebraska fans watching Corn Crazed. And the Corn Crazed name just isn't fitting for an all college football channel. I could start a brand new channel. And if you really wanted it, I could start off by doing live streams and talking about it. Eventually, I'm going to need to expand my operation. I'm going to need to get an editor. Editing takes a lot of my time. So maybe if I got an editor, I could pop out a lot more content, have one guy edit it all down for me, and then I'd be able to talk and, give my takes more often, because editing really eats up a lot of time for me. I could pop out 3 times as many videos if I didn't have to edit. I'm scrolling through chat, guys. Which IMG kid decommitted from us? Are you talking about Cameron Lenhart? No, I'm not talking about Cameron Lenhart. We already saw today that Cameron Lenhart's coming because Nebraska posted it. It was all over Twitter. Cameron Lenhart popped up on Nebraska's website as a recruit who was going to sign. Dreadly Jacks, thank you for the 5. Or Deadly Jacks. Do you think we have a chance of getting another high recruit, such as Ethan Nation, before the signing period is over? Yeah, I think there's a really good chance of it. I think there is a really good chance of it. Moral of the story says he needs some Corn Crazed stickers. Did I ever find the OU game ticket stub? I had some people comment and let me know that they had an OU ticket stub. I just didn't follow up because I've been really busy. But yeah, I do need that OU ticket stub still from this year. So I'll go back to the comments on that post I made and hit him up. Alan says, I pimp your channel out to everyone. 20K is doable. I hope so. If we can get 20K, it really helps because I'm able to get more people interested in coming on the show and I can do more because the more subscribers we have, the more money I can make. The more money I can make, the more I can spend. The more I can spend, the better the content is. Just a fact. Galactus wants Heartzog. That would be a good one to get. I like that one. I could push for him. Judd says he wants Pate, Klatt, and JD Piquel. I could text JD. I talk to JD once in a while. He's awesome. His channel, when we first interviewed JD Piquel, he's over at On3. They had like 6,000 subscribers, and now I think they have like 60, something like that. JD Piquel's crushing it. He's an all college football guy. But yeah, I'd like to have him back. Adam says, "Who's my sleeper recruit for this class?" It's a good question. I guess Quentin Ives. Probably Quentin Ives. He's the running back from where? Jersey? Oh yeah, New Jersey. He's from New Jersey. And anytime you get a running back in with a new staff, you have to believe that he fits exactly what they're looking for, which means he could play early on and at least get some looks. So maybe Quentin Ives turns out to be the number 3 in the rotation with Anthony Grant and A.J. Allen. I will say last year, there was something about A.J. Allen's film, his high school film, that made me a believer that he could play right away. I remember I posted around this time last year because it was signing day. I posted up A.J. Allen's highlights and I said, this guy's going to be a real problem and could play as a true freshman. And he ended up doing it. So I've got to watch some more highlights, some more films of these of these high school guys to see who has a chance to make an immediate impact. I haven't gotten to see all of them because, this has all come together rather quickly. It's been 3 weeks. So yeah, I'll have to see. Wyatt says, what happened to the other channel I had last year? So I started another channel last year where I was going to talk about all college football, but I only made one video on it. It was just too hard to do all the Nebraska content and other content because writing videos, recording videos, and then editing videos takes up a day. It's a full thing. It's a process. So I need more help. I think that's where I'm leaning towards, is getting an editor. So I got to figure it out. Daniel says, you know what's going on. You just said there'd be one more big commit coming besides Lenhart. You know they're playing with us. No, I don't know what's going on. If I knew what was going on, I wouldn't tease you. Honestly, I do not know what his tweet's about. Oh, let's do this real quick. So, you guys know about the Iowa guy, the Iowa player. His name is Caden something. Caden Proctor. He was committed to Iowa for how long? I don't know, months, long time. And today, this is what he had to say about Iowa after he decommitted and went to Bama.
It made me feel bad a little bit, but...
Oh, and this, for context, Iowa fans are calling him a pussy. They're saying F you. They're just being super derogatory and mean to this 17-year-old kid because he decommitted from Iowa. Keep in mind, he's one of the best offensive tackles, or maybe he's the number 1 offensive tackle in the class. Anyway, 5-star, whatever. Screw Iowa. What?
But I can't tune into that stuff. It's just mind-blowing that, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, just calling me the P word and
it is weird.
Saying F you,
It is weird to talk shit on a 17-year-old.
Stuff like that. And it's just,
makes no sense. I'm on his side.
It's crazy to hear. But I don't give into that stuff because, if they were truly an Iowa fan, then they wouldn't have been talking about that, and they would have been happy for me to be going down to Alabama.
I don't know if they'd be happy for you, but they at least wouldn't be disrespectful. It's so bizarre to me when adults and like anybody is trashing a kid for a decision that he makes, even though it's not beneficial for them. Like, it sucked when we lost Ernest Hausman, but how are you going to bash Ernest Hausman? If he's not happy, why are you going to bash on him for finding happiness? People are just so ridiculous. Anyway, Iowa fans, Colorado fans. Now, not all of them. I've talked to cool Colorado fans. I've talked to a bunch of cool OU fans, a bunch of cool Texas fans, a bunch of good Iowa fans. But it just seems like there's less cool Iowa fans and less cool Colorado fans than there are a lot of the other schools. If I'm being honest, like Wisconsin, a majority that I meet are really nice. Even Michigan, really cool. But yeah, Iowa. Ugh, the fans are just majority questionable. D. James says we just beat Kansas in triple OT in women's basketball. That's awesome. I haven't watched women's basketball yet this year. I'll have to check it out though, especially if they're winning big games, because I'm assuming Kansas women's is up there as one of the best. Husker fan says he'd like for this staff to land Malik Hornsby, not for QB, for wide receiver. He has amazing speed. He always struggled with mechanics. At some point, if you can't fix it, you're not going to. Yeah, I think he would be a wildcat quarterback at best, and I think it's more likely that he'd be a receiver or someone who ran, out of the backfield. There's ways you can use a guy like that, even if it's not just as a pure receiver. So hopefully they get him. There's still time though. We don't have to worry about any of that because we're 2 weeks, 3. We're a while from having to get a final commitment date from some of these transfer portal guys. So we don't have to worry about him not committing right away. There's time. Robert says Sims was the whole team at Georgia Tech. I feel he does damage for us if he stays healthy. I agree. I felt like he was the Adrian Martinez at Georgia Tech, which really hurt him, He was asked to do too much, and when you have to do too much, you end up not doing enough. Michelle says she had shoulder surgery for the labrum, and she can say Casey will definitely not be ready to play. It takes almost a year to get back to normal without trying to be a QB. Sims will start. I will say, Michelle, I don't know how old you are, but Casey's a really young guy, and he's really physically fit and has been working out, stretching, and he's doing everything the right way. I think Casey's going to have an easier recovery process than you or I would because he's been so active and he's so well trained. So I think he'll be ready to go. It's just going to take him some time. I think it'll take Casey at least till May to be 100%. But no, I think there's hope for him to be good to go. But man, I'm surprised you had that surgery. What were you doing, Michelle, that made you mess up your labrum? That's a serious injury. Jim says after the Rhule interview, he said Sims is the real deal and he's excited to have him. Agreed. Bensker says McCaffrey and Martinez was a quarterback competition. They were both bad in their own ways. I sold that as a quarterback competition. I made a video when I first started this channel that was controversial to get people to view it because I needed something to spark it. It got 13,000 views when I only had 1,000 subscribers. It was why Luke McCaffrey will win the quarterback battle against Adrian Martinez and be Nebraska's starting quarterback. That video did really well. I didn't believe it. I was super loyal to Adrian, but I made it for views and subscribers, and it worked. Steven says Sims has not seen the speed of Big Ten DBs. To be fair, ACC has some serious speed. To be fair, they have a lot of guys from the South. I don't think he's seen the size of Big Ten defenses, but I do think he might have seen the speed. What do you think about Rhule saying he didn't buy into the narrative that the O-line was the problem? I'm going to talk about this in my video tonight or tomorrow once I get the exact quote that he said today. I understood it though, because he said what he essentially said, my understanding or interpretation, was the offensive line was forced to revolve around the rest of the offense. And he would make it so that the offense runs through the offensive line. You work to their strengths, you make sure that they do whatever job you know they need to do, and then whatever they're capable of, the rest of the offense makes up for it. So I agree with him, and I think, Scott Frost's emphasis and Mark Whipple's emphasis is on the quarterback and on the receivers and making sure that you have your athletes ready to roll and you adjust to them. Matt Rhule's not going to do that. He's all about the lines, the front five on both sides, or the front seven on the defense and the front five on offense. Did I troll Luke McCaffrey? Oh, Don's in the chat. Guys, we're going to do a video with Don. If you guys haven't watched Don Collins' channel, Don's a dude out in Nebraska who I built a relationship with because he was selling cards, like autographed Nebraska player cards. They're pretty cool. Anyway, I have a bunch of them. I'm not going to get up and go grab them because they're across the room. But anyway, I've done some ads for Don. We built a relationship. And Don ended up saying, I want to get on YouTube and start talking about Nebraska football because he's passionate and knows a lot about it, just like we do. So he came to the table with some interesting takes. And if you haven't gotten to watch some of his videos, I suggest checking them out. Just type in Don Collins. His name's popped up right there. And you can find his channel. Talks about all kinds of stuff. Different vibe than what I give off. And I think it makes his channel cool, So anyway, Don Collins. And we'll do in January, we'll do like a collab show where I bring him on for a live stream and he and I can debate something because this guy's a really good debater and has some good ideas and different ways of thinking than I have. Gonzalez to Goat says Graham Mertz just transferred to Florida. You know what? Let's talk about that real quick. I thought that was funny. Let's talk about some of the stuff I saw on Twitter today because there were some funny things I saw on Twitter. So we'll talk about Mertz first because I'm a Mertz hater just because he went to Wisconsin and I have my issues with Wisconsin. So this says Graham Mertz has committed to Florida and the fans are pumped. Let's see how pumped they are. As a walk-on, please, Lord, let it be a walk-on. Yeah, he better not be our plan for starter or we're absolutely cooked. I like that one. This must be what a fatal diagnosis feels like. Next up, Dog. He's the worst portal QB available. He's sucked in an offense geared to run the ball. I thought that one was funny. With this one, I saw a highlight. It said, here's Graham Mertz highlights from Wisconsin. And it's like 3 or 4 minutes straight of him handing off the ball to Braylon Allen. It was hilarious. Those were his highlights. It was pretty damn funny. To be fair, Graham Mertz threw a dart against Nebraska and beat Nebraska on the final play. So, freaking Graham Mertz. Anyway, it's still fun to make fun of him. Billy better be renting. Billy Napier. This staff can drink bleach if this is true. Fold the program, it's dead. Florida fans weren't excited about Graham Mertz. All right, how about this? Oklahoma loses a recruit to Oregon. This was Oklahoma, and it was also, who was it? Oklahoma and Notre Dame. Who was the recruit? Peyton Bowen. 13th best player, the number 2 safety in the country, 5-star. He was considering Oregon, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma. So this was the reaction from Oklahoma fans. I'm so glad this bullshit is over. We hired the wrong staff. Lose Bowen and Hicks, a.k.a. We'll go to Texas. What a effing joke. All this BS talk from his mom about education, only for him to take the money and run. Maybe this is what Matt Rhule's tweet had to do last night with the duck and the money bag emoji. Oregon might be shelling out cash. I guess Peyton Bowen's mom said some things about Oklahoma that were pretty positive, and apparently they didn't hold true since he ended up at Oregon. And Notre Dame, they weren't too happy either, but I'm sure these will be better since this is from a Catholic school. He's an immature loser, and so is his dad. Grow up. Harsh. I agree. They're liars. F that. I thought this was a Catholic school. Exactly. Classless family going to a classless university. Oregon's not classless. Oh my God. Some of these kids are clowns. This is a 17-year-old. Complete slap in the face. Kid's a punk. What? Well, to be fair, he has a Washington State helmet. So I'm going to guess Tommy from Tacoma is a Washington guy, not a true Catholic Irishman. Disrespectful. Honestly, kids, wow. Yeah, this isn't an Irishman. The Irishmen I know are Catholic, and they're not calling kids douches. I mean, he's 17. Just trying to put food on his table for his family. People are going in. Okay, here we go. Miami. This is a good one. So, Cormani McClain is the number 3 player in the class from Lakeland, Florida. He's 5-star corner. Supposedly, Mr. Sanders got in on him at the last minute, and he's trying to make a flip. Everybody wants this guy. This is the best corner in the class. Best defensive player, period, in the class. So, here's what the Miami fans had to say. Credible sources tell MBG, message board geniuses, that Cormani McClain was offered $500,000 up front plus $2 million per year to sign with them. Wow. Okay. Guys, we offered $500,000 up front and $2 million per year. If someone outbagged us, it's not on Mario or Ruiz or Miami in general. We don't need to offer anyone more than that. To be fair, I don't think you do either. $500,000 deposit plus $2 million a year to get one player. It's a pricey guy. It's not sustainable. That's a fact. It's not going to be the standard. That's a fact. I mean, yeah, it's not sustainable. You can't give the best players in the class, $2 million, $1 million, $500,000. It adds up to be a lot of money. You need to spread that money out to multiple guys. Anyway, we went well above Florida's offer, which is why he's been committed for so long. Bama lost out, added cash in the follow-through, and we were willing to overpay our overpay. We're good. Not sure if that offer will hold true. Not sure if for some reason he's going to decommit and end up over there at Colorado or somewhere else, but we'll find out soon. Either way, it's no skin off our back. We're not competing with $2 million a year players. I did that one. Jeff says, beat the Colorado Communists. I don't know much about Colorado. I'm going to guess they're super liberal, though. Mitch, thank you for the $2 chat. You're in Ocala, Florida, and you enjoy the videos. Well, I've never been to Ocala, Florida. I don't even know where it is. But thanks for watching. Brandon, thank you for being a member. Appreciate it a ton. Who is going to play center in 2023? I haven't even gotten into it yet. I haven't even looked at what we've got on the offensive line returning. The only two that I feel confident in saying right now, left tackle is Teddy Prohaska. Left tackle Teddy Prohaska. Right. Damn, why do I keep saying left and right? Left tackle Teddy Prohaska. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just brain dead. And then left guard Nourdin Nouili. Those are two really good guys who I think don't have any real issues. Teddy, injury issues, I guess you can say, but he's a really talented lineman. The best lineman, I would argue, coming back into Nebraska's rotation this year before he got hurt. And then Nourdin Nouili, who was really tough, and he started at, where did he start? Colorado State before coming to Nebraska and being a 7 or 8 game starter in 2021. So those are two guys who I think are solid. Colby says, thoughts on JT Daniels going to Rice. So my friend grew up next to JT Daniels, next door to him in Newport. And JT went to my rival high school. JT was the #1 quarterback in the country. And then JT went to USC. And he did okay. He was a starter. But he didn't do good enough to secure his spot from Keaton Slovis. He gets hurt. Keaton Slovis comes in. He was a true freshman, electric, was a product of Kurt Warner. I think Kurt Warner was his quarterback's coach or high school coach or whatever. And then JT has to transfer out of USC because he lost the job to Keaton. He ends up going to Georgia and can't beat out Stetson Bennett. Even though Georgia fans were really hyping him up, they wanted him to play really bad because they thought Stetson wouldn't give him a real chance. And then we saw what Stetson did, and we saw what Stetson has continued to do. Anyway, JT then goes out to West Virginia, and there was a lot of hope that he would be pretty good at West Virginia, and then this year was kind of underwhelming. So he transfers again, and now he's at Rice. I think he played 19, 20, 21, 22. This will be his 5th year in his 4th school. Anyway, if Luke McCaffrey's going to be there, then fantastic. Then maybe they have a real quarterback and a real receiver. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm just surprised that these guys are transferring as often as they're transferring. Once a year. Another guy who transferred was Emory Jones. Emory Jones was the quarterback at Florida, starting quarterback at Florida, who then lost the job to Anthony Richardson. Or I don't even know if he lost the job, but it was implied he was going to lose it. He was a rotator with him at one point. Then after he went to Florida, it was Arizona State. He had a decent year at Arizona State. Herm Edwards gets fired. He finishes the year as the starter, and now he's transferring to Cincinnati. It's so bizarre that these guys are transferring so often. Fire's highlight says, as a 12-year-old fan for 12 years. I'm glad that you've been a fan your entire life, Fires. I'm glad. What are my thoughts on Elijah Jeudy? I haven't seen anything. Like, you don't see any practice film from this guy because how are we going to get practice film from Texas A&M, right? So we don't know what he's done of recent. I'm sure he sent it to the staff and they've seen it. On3 didn't re-rank him as a... So sometimes you'll get like an On3 high school ranking like we see here and here. And then you'll get a re-ranking for the portal. They didn't even give him a re-ranking for the portal. I'm not sure why. I'm hoping that he has some of, the potential that On3 saw in him back in 2019, or what year, 2021. Oh, that was just a year ago. I'm hoping they still see the potential from a year ago. I'm going to have to watch his highlights, see what's out there. But, yeah, I'm hoping that he has a better go at Nebraska than he did at A&M. The difference is A&M had a lot more talent across the board than Nebraska. They had a lot of 5 stars at every single position. They were fully loaded, and I don't think they had the right staff in. They had the right recruiting staff, but the right coaching staff, not quite. They didn't win as many games as they should have. So, anyway, we'll have to see. But thank you for being a subscriber at 12 years old. I thought most of my subscribers were older. Judd says he's not sold on Teddy. Okay, I'm completely sold on Teddy because Teddy's been a stud when he was healthy. He's been a stud when the offensive line worked decently. This year, he was on an offensive line that I don't think was coached right. Not from Donovan Raiola, but from a scheme point of view. And I don't think I think he was probably not as healthy. I don't think he was as ready to play as you would hope a guy would be. He had come off an ACL surgery, and I think he had some shoulder issue. I don't think this year in these 3 games he played in is an accurate representation of what we can get out of him long term. So hopefully, he goes back to 2021 form. Craig says, maybe I'm out of touch with NCAA football, but when did we start paying college players to play sports? I thought there were laws against that once. Well, if you just woke up from a 4-year coma, or you live under a rock with no electronics, then I'm letting everybody who is in that grouping that I just explained, I'll let you guys know. The NCAA, what they do, they agreed to allow NIL, name, image, and likeness, name, image, likeness deals, which means you can now promote products and services for businesses. You can now sell your own things and make money off of your name, image, and likeness. Because of that, players are able to make money. And because there aren't many rules, we see all of these weird $2 million deals and guys just making little appearances or phone calls and getting paid ridiculous amounts of money for it. So that's what's happened. It's bizarre, I know. Moral says, does Reggie Bush get his Heisman Trophy back now? So I was talking to my dad about this the other day. My dad's a USC fan, big Reggie fan. He said, of course Reggie shouldn't get his Heisman back. And I was like, what? Why? I think he should get it back. I loved Reggie. He's a great running back. And just because you take away the Heisman doesn't mean you can take away all that he accomplished. You can't erase the film. You can't erase the facts, right? That he was one of the best college running backs ever. He said, no, he shouldn't get it back because he broke the rules. I was like, okay, that's fair. He did break the rules at the time. So he said, you can't get it back when you didn't follow him. I was like, but he wasn't the only one following him. He was just the only one that got caught. My dad said that may be true, but if you're going to break the rules, you got to pay the price. And so that's what's happening in this Reggie Bush situation. Although I do wish Reggie would get his Heisman back, I understand. So, yeah, Reggie's not getting his Heisman back, I don't think. Roger is hilarious. Hilarious. Ryan, I watched some highlights on Josh Fleeks at the beginning of this video. I think Josh Fleeks is electric. I think there's a lot of potential. And I think you're getting a guy who, he's 24 probably. He's like 24 years old. And he's already played in the Matt Rhule offense. I'm sure they're going to get something out of him. That'd be exciting. Clutch says USC or Nebraska for Dylan. What's interesting is USC just landed the number 2 quarterback in the entire class in Malachi Nelson. I was talking to a friend at USC who said that he thought Dylan was likely better than Malachi Nelson based on the film he watched. If that's true, Lincoln Riley might make a push for Dylan Raiola, and we could be in for a battle, but who knows? I do think USC's on the table, Oregon's on the table, Georgia's on the table. If I had to guess a top 4, it's going to be those 3 plus Nebraska. It'll be pretty interesting. Dayton says, do you think Nebraska will make the first expanded playoff? I don't know the format, what the tie-ins are, so I don't want to make a prediction for that yet. I don't know what when I say the tie-ins, I mean, I don't know how many games you can afford to lose. I don't know what the structure of the divisions are going to look like, if they're going to be pods. So, yeah, I don't know. After today, what are your expectations for next season? Simple expectations. I'll make a video where I say realistic expectations for Matt Rhule's first 3 years at Nebraska, and I'll break down each year. But simple expectation, I'll say 6 wins is a good expectation. Nebraska's going to return 9, I think, on defense, or 8, something like that. If they return 8 starters on defense, that's massive. And if their defense is, slightly better than it was last year and the offense takes a big step forward because the offensive line performs better, 6 wins should easily be doable. Nebraska could have won 6 games this year, even with all their drama and BS. So 6 wins is for sure in the cards. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to make any other expectations or, yeah. I don't know. It's too hard. We're so early on. The expanded playoff, when does it begin? It begins in 2024. Not this year, but next year, right? You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Barrett says, how do you feel about Corcoran being at right tackle? I don't know. Good question. I don't know if he's a better guard or tackle. A lot will be determined once the new staff evaluates where those guys fit. I think they're going to figure out who fits best where early on, and then they're going to try to build the offense around it. So we should know pretty early. We should start to get reports from people like Sean Callahan and other insiders, and then we'll know. But for right now, I don't know. It's too tough because it's a guess. It's not as much of a prediction as a guess. Steven says Dominic will not let Dylan go to USC. He was committed to Ohio State. Dylan is coming to Nebraska. Bet the house. Man, I want to bet the house. I want to believe. It's just, it's hard to believe. The number one quarterback in the entire class, the number one player in the entire country coming to Nebraska. You gotta understand from my position, we haven't gotten anything good in a long time. Not that these players weren't great. Not that some of the other players who've committed weren't great. But when we're talking about a player that's Heisman caliber, that's NFL draft, Patrick Mahomes style, elite level, coming to Nebraska, the place I love, it just feels, like I'm reaching and I just can't get it. It just feels like that's always how it's been. Every Nebraska, or every 5-star Nebraska's been in on. Who was the one in the Mike Riley era? The outside linebacker for the Cowboys. There's so many names in my head, I can't even remember his name. It starts with an M. You know who it is, number 11. Micah Parsons, that's who it is. Micah Parsons. Nebraska was in on him. He was in Nebraska camp. He had a route he ran in a one-on-one, and he caught the ball over a DB. It might have been Lamar Jackson or somebody. But anyway, it just seems out of the realm of possibility, even though it is realistic. And I would be over the moon. So, yeah. Any thoughts on Barry Jackson flipping to Cincinnati? So Barry Jackson is the receiver from Georgia who was a 3-time state champion. He was a Mickey Joseph recruit. He was one of my favorite receivers in this class. I think I compared him to Trey Palmer because of his speed and his size. Nebraska landed a lot of receivers today. I understand not taking any more or not getting any more. Look at this receiver class. Malachi. Jaden Doss, Bryce Turner, Jalen Lloyd. So you got 4 receivers in this class, and there's still potential that DeColdis Crawford could come back. That's a lot of receivers. I would love to see I would have loved to see Barry Jackson here in the mix and see if he could have been a starter because I love competition, but the fact that it didn't happen isn't something that I'm looking at and saying, oh man, pissed off or upset. It just is what it is. Can't take everybody. Can't win every battle. Barry Jackson's given an opportunity to be a starter at Cincinnati, to be a star at Cincinnati. So, yeah. Airmet says, any word on Hornsby and Ben Scott declaring in January? I'm assuming they'll both declare in January. I haven't heard anything about either one. I would think Hornsby was a Nebraska lean. He has been a Nebraska lean at least this whole time. Someone said that Hornsby was being courted to be the quarterback at Houston. If that's true, maybe it'll be harder to get him because he could still have a chance to play quarterback, right? At Nebraska, I think he's going to end up as a receiver. But, yeah, anything can happen. Ben Scott, I'm really hoping we get him. That would be a huge pickup. He has starting experience from Arizona State. I'd be excited. Galactus says, wow, just saw Mario Buford's offer on Rhule's Twitter feed. Colorado offer is cringe as fuck. Just pictures of Dion instead of the player. What? Yeah, let me show you guys the Colorado offers. Here it is. I love that Matt Rhule retweeted it. It's so good. Matt Rhule's getting good at Twitter. So it says, blessed to receive an offer from the University of Colorado. Matt Rhule obviously wants Mario Buford. Okay, he's a 4-star corner from DeSoto. His brother plays at Nebraska right now. I think he just won a state championship. Anyway, this is the offer. There's no picture of Mario. Like the Nebraska offers usually have a picture of the player, something. This is prime in action on the right side, a double picture here, offered by Coach Prime. I don't see any Colorado in big text here. I guess you can see Colorado in big text here. You can see about 40% of the Buff logo here. Outside of that, I got to zoom the hell in to see Colorado Buffaloes football. I wouldn't have even known if I wasn't a diehard college football fan, and I'm just a kid from Massachusetts, and I get this graphic, and I'm not following primetime, you know? It just says offered by Coach Prime. It's like, okay, what school offered me? It's very interesting. I'm not knocking it. Whatever works, works. No judgment over here. Do what you got to do. I am a big primetime fan. But those offer graphics are bizarre. They're strange. Brandon, I did talk about this earlier. I'll wait to discuss this with anybody at Nebraska once we get closer to the facilities opening up. But I 100% am willing to get my videographer and fly out to Nebraska to make a facilities tour video once it's completed. So as long as Nebraska will give me a tour and do that, I know I can get a tour of it. I just don't know if I can get clearance to get a tour and film it for YouTube. So as long as I can get the clearance for YouTube, then I'm 100% doing that and posting that on the channel in June or July, whenever it opens. That would be fantastic. Coltrane says he thought Crawford was waived. Yeah, I haven't heard. I don't know if there's any clarity. I haven't heard anything yet. I made a prediction about 10 days ago when everyone was saying, oh, Grimes and Crawford both want to come back. My prediction was, well, maybe Matt Rhule doesn't want him back. And then Sean Callahan said he was under the impression that Matt Rhule wouldn't want him back, and that even though they had thought they would come to Nebraska or come back from the portal to Nebraska, that they weren't welcome. So I haven't seen anything be a hard no or a hard yes. So until I have more info, I'm just going to guess. There's still a chance, but we'll have to see. Dreamin' Digital says that is gross. Dion is tone deaf. That's pretty accurate. It was a little tone deaf. Is it Dion or is it the University of Colorado? It's going over somebody's head, right? Especially if you're Colorado and trying to build the brand. At Nebraska, you know what I like about Matt Rhule? Man, I've been a critic of him in the past. I said there were a lot of question marks. How would he do with NIL? How would he do with everything else? Anyway, he's proved me wrong time and time again, which is fantastic. I wanted him to prove me wrong. So it wasn't like I was upset he proved me wrong. But here's the thing. I also was big on the Dion train. And the more and more I see from Dion, the less I buy into it. It's like I'm starting to see the gimmick. Before, I knew it was a gimmick, but I was like, oh no, they're going to work around it. But now that Colorado is fully bought into the gimmick and they're playing on it, what is going on? Someone has to be the authority and say, okay, yeah, this is fun. We're going to put primetime on the side of a hat. But at what point do you say, okay, it's too much primetime? This is the University of Colorado. We have a brand. You need to abide by that. No one's telling him he has to. It's like they said, hey, we're going to make this Coach Prime University. It's odd. Anyway, I say all of that to say and come back to why I'm so happy about Matt Rhule. Today in the presser, he talked about wearing the brand and how his previous staff at Temple and at Baylor had said, imagine if we were doing this with a brand name on our chest. Instead of being at Temple or Baylor, who, you know, are known football programs, aren't blue bloods, aren't the top 10 or in the top 10 for college football programs nationally. Imagine if we got to go to a place like Nebraska, how much damage we would do, just like they've done so far. He respects the brand. He abides by the brand. He lives to make the brand the face and to make sure that he's a part of the brand, but he isn't the brand. It's the opposite of what Coach Prime has done. Anyway, you know, I can have an opinion, but if it works for him, it works. And who the hell cares what I have to say? I'm just here on YouTube from my bedroom BSing with a bunch of Nebraska fans. I mean, from a national perspective, if this works to bring in 5-star players and 4-star players and win games, who cares what any of us think, right? I'm just not so sure it's going to work. I was under the impression that this Colorado class would be better than it has been. We'll talk about the Colorado class in a second, because it's, to be honest, a little underwhelming, at least from my perspective. Super Serial, thank you for the $20, and thank you for being a member. Merry Christmas, Connor. Thanks for keeping me hyped for Nebraska football year round. Yes, sir. I have got you. And I promise you guys this. I'm going to be busy this offseason because I'm going to have to find some other things to do since there's not going to be as much content and not as many videos I can make. So I got to go and work and get back to what I do with my other clients. But I am going to make it a priority to block off significant dates. I am going to be here for the entire offseason to make sure I give you guys the latest reactions to whatever breaking news there is, transfers out, transfers in, announcements, things we learn about this team, because there is going to be a lot that's learned over these next, 6 months before game 1, before August. And because of that, I want to make sure that we all stay together and that I'm pumping out that content for you. Because like I said early on in this stream, the season is an entire year. The 2023 season started today or last week. And it's not going to end until this time next year. So I'm going to enjoy every part of it, even if it's just an off-season national championship, right? Because you never know what's going to happen when the games come on. Michael says, sorry if this has been talked about, but what is going on with Cameron Lenhart? Will he be a February commit? So I think that Cameron Lenhart is going to be a January commitment. The reason that he was going to wait was because he wanted to announce it during his bowl game, it looked like, because that's why he would have not wanted to do it today. And that's why he wouldn't have done it today, because he didn't come on TV or any live streams and do it. But Nebraska accidentally posted it up on their Twitter, or no, on their website, and then people took it from the website, posted it on Twitter. So it's kind of known or assumed that he's going to come. But yeah, I guess that'll happen in January. Tater, thank you for the 5, and thank you for being a member. Going for a record live stream. Geez, yeah, we've been on for 2 hours already. Our record, I think, is like 3.5. I'll be out of here earlier than that. I'll get off soon. But we've got 830 people on right now, so I don't want to leave you hanging if we've got stuff to talk about and questions to answer. This is a Q&A, technically. Anyways, I'll be here till the end, and Merry Christmas, Corn Craze Nation. Yeah, Merry Christmas to all you guys. I hope you're having a happy holiday. I am. I'm going to go see my mom probably on the 24th, 25th, hang out with my mom and sister, and I'm going to go back to Oklahoma on the 29th and stay out there through New Year's so that he and I can watch the rest of the bowl games together. Byers, our 12-year-old subscriber. Connor, got a big question. If Nebraska gets Dylan Rhule, do you think he adds talent from that class, or is it him who we're recruiting from the start? I think what you're asking me is, will he bring other players with him? When you bring in a player who's a 5-star or the #1 player in the country, some of their best friends are the top guys in the country, right? And not only are they their best friends, but they're guys who they can believe in, that they can work with and build something with. So Dylan Rhule, I'm sure, has some connections to receivers or offensive linemen who are among the top in the country. And they would like to play wherever he's going to play because they know greatness is going to follow, right? They know if he's going to go there, that team's going to be elevated. If that team's going to be elevated and there's a quarterback there who can get me the ball, I want to play with him. So, yeah, I do think that landing someone of that caliber would assist in recruiting. Moral says, Dion is the Kardashian of college football. It's pretty damn funny. To be fair, the Kardashians are winning, so I hope he's not the Kardashian, because then he just would have total dominance, and I don't want that. Ice Cream Jones, thank you for being a member. Shake says Prime brought in 0 5-stars and 1 4-star. Let's check out what's going on with Prime Time in Colorado. So here are the rankings from the classes today. This is the Big Ten, but let's get over to National. Okay, #1, Alabama. Shocker. Georgia, Miami's up there at 3, Texas at 4, Ohio State squeezing in at 5. Scroll a little bit further. USC surprisingly is at 13. You know, USC lost a lot of battles, specifically on defense. USC's defensive coordinator, I guess, people don't have faith. their offense, they got some offensive firepower, but their defensive guys, USC lost at least 3 defensive guys to Arizona and Oregon, which is a shocker because Arizona? What? Okay. Scrolling. Michigan State's up at 21. Louisville at 24 with Jeff Brom. Nebraska's right behind Baylor, right in front of Missouri. Iowa, number 37 nationally. Minnesota at 41. Illinois at 44. Wisconsin all the way down there at 50. Where's Colorado? 52. Finally, it took us a while. Colorado is behind Pitt, Arizona, Wake, Oregon State, Iowa State, Maryland, Virginia Tech, West. What? Dion? This isn't the final class, though. They've got more guys coming in. 4-star wide receiver, 4-star running back. Those are their only 2 4-stars. I would have thought there'd be more. For a guy who prides himself on flashy, the biggest names, you would think they'd get more big names. And nobody here is standing out to me as names I've seen. I've seen this name. This Jordan Onaview from Mater Dei. Here are the transfers. Levante Bentley. He's from Clemson, I think. Yep, Clemson, linebacker. Shador, obviously. Taj Alston from West Virginia. He was an edge rusher. He's a good player. Savion Washington, an offensive tackle from Kent State. He's a good player. He could start. An Old Dominion edge. Don't know anything about him. Is this what? Montana? I think that's Montana Grizzlies logo. Interior offensive lineman. He'll compete for a spot, I guess. And then this fullback, it looks like, or running back from Cal, who went to J. Sarah. Yeah, it's kind of underwhelming. Travis Hunter reportedly might end up at Georgia. Wait, let's get back into the recruiting. I was gonna type in on 3 transfer. We'll do transfer portal. Oops. Okay. So right now, Travis Hunter, the #1 portal player, period, in the country, is a 30% to Georgia, 27% to Miami. There is nothing here for Colorado. So Travis Hunter, I'm surprised, formerly a Florida State commit. I would have assumed if he wasn't going to Colorado, he would have gone back to Florida State. But I'm sure a lot of people at Florida State turned their back on him and were pretty disrespectful to him, so he's probably frustrated by that. Either way, interesting here. There's going to be more money for him at Georgia or Miami than there will at Colorado if NIL is important to him. But very interesting. Colorado not having the splash day that I expected. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Ice Cream. If you had a question or a comment, I'll read that. I know I read your member, but you didn't have a comment in there either. Galactus says, I hate admitting when I'm wrong, but as time goes on, I was way too high on Prime and too low on Rhule. I'm glad I'm being proved wrong, but damn, I feel stupid. So, I felt the same way you did, but to be fair, there's nothing to be fair. We were wrong. We got too high on Dion, and because I'm in the same boat as you. I got really excited for him, and I thought that Travis Hunter would come over. I thought he'd have a bigger signing day than Nebraska had. It was just underwhelming. Keep in mind, I felt like I did at one point, but I never wanted Prime over Rhule. There were a lot of people who said I'd rather have Prime than Rhule. I never wanted that. There was a time when I thought I wanted it for about 5 minutes, but I quickly came to my senses and said, no, this is what Trev wants. This is what he's trying to build. I'm going to trust Trev here. So don't feel stupid. I understand your position. There were a lot of people like this. Who is my favorite player from the 2023 class so far? My favorite player is Eric Fields. We watched a few of the highlights earlier. I'll pull them back up now. Eric Fields made me forget about Ernest Hausman. He's a linebacker from Oklahoma. He's right here. Circle around him. He's playing offense right here, it looks like. Yeah, he's lined up at running back. Touchdown right out the gate. Let's get to a defensive play. Oh, here we go. Defensive play. Looks like a screen pass outside, and he flies across the field and drills the dude. He's extremely quick. Watch his movement. He cut straight through the lineman. The lineman stepped up to get him, and he stepped right and was right on the tackle. Here he is again. I can't see what happened there. Sorry, guys. I have a really small screen because I had to shrink it so you guys can see it. I can't see every play. Okay, here. This one's clear for me. Goes outside, steps into the hole. Bam. Looks so good. This guy's a proven tackler. He had 180 tackles in 10 games as a senior. 18 tackles a game. Look at that. Bull rushes a lineman. He went through 2 dudes to make that play. This is my favorite commit from the class. And he's hardly a 3-star. A guy no one knew 2 weeks ago. Meets him at the line of scrimmage. Doesn't even need the help, but he got the help from his defense, but didn't even need it. Could have brought the guy down one-on-one. He's lined up at running back now. When you have a linebacker who can play running back, that reminds me of a JoJo Doman vibe, someone who's a freak athlete, and that means he can probably cover receivers one-on-one. Yeah, this is by far my favorite commit. Makes you forget about some of the guys who transferred. Barrett says, what are your thoughts on a Johnny commitment? No thoughts other than, it was expected. I didn't think he was going to come to Nebraska after he took the visit to Ohio State and Oregon and Tennessee. It's hard to get a guy of that caliber who wants to go pro and get NIL money to come to Nebraska when, we're in a rebuild year. So I understand his position. I'm not complaining about it. It is what it is. Oh, chat just refreshed to get me to the bottom. Nathaniel says he left, went to the gym, and he got food, and we're still here live streaming. Look, I've got almost 800 people here who want to talk about Nebraska football. I can't just leave them hanging. Shake says Wisconsin is sitting at number 50 with 1 4-star. What's so interesting about the Wisconsin situation is that we thought Luke Fickell was going to come in and potentially be a better recruiter than Matt Rhule. Because why wouldn't he be? Luke Fickell was just in the college football playoff 1 year ago. Luke Fickell has multiple 9-win seasons over the last 4 years. And Luke Fickell couldn't land any big names? It just doesn't make sense. What's going on with Luke in Wisconsin? Maybe he doesn't have the right staff. Maybe they didn't need as many players. Maybe they had a lot of their holes filled. But I'm just glad that we got Matt Rhule. I'm glad that we have a team or a staff who's going out and building a team, and they're taking the initiative to find the guys who fit. So it makes for a very exciting offseason. Ryan says, just look at how busy Rhule was on the road recruiting. If you followed that YouTube channel that his son runs, it shows what they've been doing. Dion was never on the road talking with kids. That's very true. Dion was busy trying to build his staff. Dion was busy trying to coach his old team over there at Jackson State. And they didn't go out on the road recruiting once. Not that we saw. And they documented everything. So, makes sense. Not sure why they didn't put the work in, but Matt Rhule knew they had to, and I'm glad Nebraska did. Barrett says, who's the front runner for the Big Ten West? Not Purdue. I guess Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska. I would probably say Illinois is the front runner. They have their coach coming back. They didn't get the quarterback yet, did they? Luke Altmaier from Ole Miss. If they get Luke Altmaier, I'd say they're the favorite. But they're losing their running back, and they're losing one of their best defensive players that I can think of off the top of my head. They're losing a lot more than that, though. I think the Big Ten West is wide open at this point. It's anybody's to win, just like it was last year. To be fair, Iowa has Cade McNamara now. That could make them a little bit more dangerous. So, yeah. Is Anthony Grant back? Yeah, as of now, Anthony is back. But anything can change, so I'm not sure. Do you think Rhule can keep the best recruiting class in the Big Ten West? I would expect him to, yes. Let's look right here. Someone else said, how do you think our class measures up in the Big Ten? Well, let's just look. Class rankings. Let me close out the chat to give you guys a little bit more room. Big Ten. Ohio State's number 1, Penn State 2, Michigan 3, Michigan State 4. None of these are a surprise, obviously. Actually, let me rephrase that. This is a big surprise. I would have expected Michigan to be closer to number 1, chasing Ohio State, not chasing Penn State. Why are they falling behind Penn State? That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, Nebraska sitting there right behind Michigan State and right above everyone in the West. I don't expect anyone to catch them. Nebraska's significantly ahead here. I mean, not significant, but ahead enough. There's no way Northwestern's catching him, and Northwestern has the same ranking as Iowa. If you look just here, Nebraska's got 3 4-stars. Minnesota's got 2. If you look at strength from the top and not just the entire class, Nebraska is the most talented in terms of top-heavy talent. Same in the transfer portal. I mean, Cade McNamara is a good quarterback, but I think Jeff Sims is better than Cade McNamara. Who else did some of these schools get? Oh, Nick Evers at Wisconsin, the transfer portal quarterback from Oklahoma. I don't really believe in that guy. He couldn't even crack the top 3 this year, and OU didn't have a very good quarterback play past Dylan Gabriel. So, anyway, yes, I think Nebraska has a very good recruiting class and a very good transfer class. And in the Big West, it's the best. In the grand scheme of the Big Ten period, it's still up there top 5, so I'm happy with what this staff has done so far. Ice Cream Jones pointing out that Michigan has the number 1 transfer class, which means that they're more worried about the transfers this year than they were about the regular recruits. But let's look at their transfer class. Miles Hinton, who's the offensive tackle from Stanford. This was a great pickup. Jack Tuttle, he's going to be their backup QB. He's from Indiana. He's nothing special, I promise you. Ernest Hausman, yeah, okay, he's good, but he's not the number 1 player in the portal. He's just a good piece for them. He'll probably start not next year, but the year after. He will get to rotate and get playing time, though. Ladarius Henderson, who's a guard from Arizona State. That's a good one. Edge rusher from Coastal. That's a good one, too. AJ Barner, this is one of the best players from Indiana, a top 3 player who hit the portal, and he went to Michigan. So that's a valuable piece. And then I don't know who Drake Nugent is. But yeah, they did get multiple starters. 1, 2, 3, 4. They got like 3 or 4 starters so far in the portal. So that number 1 transfer class is justified. Are you surprised that Garrett Nelson hasn't said if he's coming back or not? No, I'm not surprised. I think he's waiting for the NFL draft evaluators to tell him where he'll fit in. I don't think he's going to transfer. I think he's going to stay or go draft. So, yeah. What in your mind made Ernest Hausman transfer? Well, in my mind, I thought that he just didn't like losing. I thought he wanted a fresh start. But apparently he had some problems with people on the team. I don't know how much truth that is, and I don't want to speak out on it because I don't know the full story, but I've heard rumors from people that that he didn't like everyone on the team. So yeah, who knows? Don't know the truth. Kyle says, who do you want at QB next year? I want either Jeff Sims or Casey Thompson, whoever gives Nebraska the best chance to win. And Zach, with our final comment before I hop off of here, because we've been on here for 2.5 hours. Thank you for your $2 super chat, Zach. Can we watch some Malachi and other highlights? For another stream, I'll pull up a bunch of highlights, and we can watch highlights of some of the commits. I will do that. That's a good idea. But I've got to get out of here right now, because I got to work on my next video for tomorrow. We've been here for 2.5 hours. Every one of you who tapped in, thank you. If you want to watch the video from the beginning or see certain parts, because I did a 2.5 hour Q&A, you can fast forward back to the start once this is posted up in the next 10 minutes here, and we'll go from there. Yeah, with all of that said, videos up tomorrow on the presser today and what we learned from signing day. But until next time, thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Go Big Red.